Jude Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, let's talk about the Show Me Institute, which is a great think tank here in the St. Louis area. They're a great resource for me as a talk show host. We feature some of the guests from the Show Me Institute, like Brenda Talent. We had Jim Talent on yesterday. Jim's wife, Brenda, runs the Show Me Institute, and it's a think tank that's promoting free markets and individual liberty, something I strongly believe in. So school choice, educational choice is something that they really focus on. And if you go to showmeinstitute.org, you can see a bunch of different pieces, blog posts, etc., on these topics. Lower taxes, maybe even getting rid of the income tax. Certainly getting rid of the earnings tax in the city of St. Louis is something they advocate for. Creating a level playing field for entrepreneurs where government doesn't get to pick the winners and the losers. Stop giving all these tax breaks to developers through things like TIF. And holding government accountable through transparency. They do all of this at the Show Me Institute. They do great work here in St. Louis, and you can find out more at showmeinstitute.org today.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid residents in need of care at home. If you need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid with no cost to you, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care at home in St. Louis and they get paid instantly. This is 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. It can be your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need and your caregiver gets paid instantly. Freedom Care has over 7,000 five-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in St. Louis for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's free to you through Medicaid, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Find out why Renewal by Andersen has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. rbastl.com or 314-332-1924.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air. It's fish fry season on the Mark Reardon Show, and we're inviting you to join us this week. We'll be in Cottleville at the Knights of Columbus Hall. So if that's your neck of the woods, grab a meal and say hello. The annual tradition continues. Fish Fry Fridays on the Mark Reardon Show.
You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, I would say even if Cottleville is not in your neck of the woods, coming out and see us tomorrow at the Knights of Columbus Hall. It's going to be awesome. We have some listeners checking in with me about the future dates. We got Assumption, In South County next Friday, Queen of All Saints the week following, St. Mary Magdalene. That's a new one for us on the stop.
Yeah.
On the 4th of April, and Ott's Tavern in Millstadt, Illinois on the 11th.
Cottleville has that good fried shrimp. Jane loves the hush puppies. Oh, the fried shrimp. I'm thinking about it right now.
Man, I'm still going back to that po' boy
Yeah.
from last
that
week
was
for sure.
delicious.
Well, I feel like, when we talk about Doge, I always have to play my sounder here.
And now, this Doge update.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
On the Mark Reardon Show.
I like that. I like that a lot. Neal McCluskey is with us. He's the director of Cato Institute Center for Educational Freedom. We're going to talk a little bit about the Department of Education and whether it's realistic to peel that back and some other things related to Doge. Neal has also written a book called The Fractured Schoolhouse, Re-Examining Education for a Free, Equal, and Harmonious Society. How are you, Neal? Welcome to 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing okay this afternoon. We have a beautiful, beautiful day here, and we're fans of Doge here on this radio station, and I'm certainly a fan. But let me kind of start here with the Department of Education. You wrote a book about this. We're in a situation here where I feel very strongly that we're not addressing this learning loss issue from the pandemic. There's so many things out there that don't get discussed, and you have a Department of Education that's supposed to maybe focus on some of these things. And in, I think, a lot of people's view, they spend a lot of money that doesn't have ROI. So what would you say overall about the idea to get rid of the Department of Education?
No, I think it's absolutely the right idea to get rid of the Department of Education. For one thing, it's unconstitutional. So the Constitution gives the federal government specific enumerated powers, the only ones it has, and education's not among them. So it shouldn't be doing anything in education, much less having a Department of Education, a cabinet-level department. So for that reason alone, it should go. But we also have no evidence that it's done any good educationally. What we see is it basically sucks up taxpayer money, bundles it with some red tape, and then returns the remains after they pay themselves back to states and districts. And that's not productive for anybody.
No, it's kind of a money laundering operation, isn't it? And I agree with you. And, the thing that I like to remind people of, I moved here to St. Louis when I was 14 in 1979. That was the year that they created the Department of Education. So it hasn't been around really that long. But it's one of those things when you say that, Neal, you know this, to the average person who's not dialed into what's going on, they think like, oh, my gosh, why would you cut a department that is dedicated to education, right?
Yeah, I mean, we hear that all the time, and it makes it easy to kind of demagogue keeping it because, well, it's about education, and education is good, and don't we want the federal government to be doing things that are good? But it doesn't actually educate anyone. It's not like the military where they actually go out and they do things like fight the wars. It's a bureaucracy. It's money exchange. It has nothing to do with actually teaching people. And bureaucracy tends to have kind of a bad connotation because it's slow to move and it wastes a lot of money, and that's what the Department of Education is. So just because it has education in the name doesn't mean it's educating people.
The constitutional point is very, very important as well because, and I'm open to rooting out wasteful spending in whatever department, but a lot of folks, and you've probably noticed this in the legacy media on the left, their talking point is, well, you better go after defense. And I'm fine with that if you want to look at some things in the Department of Defense. But unlike the Department of Education, the Department of Defense is constitutionally required. That is a constitutional mandate. So there's a significant difference there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Department of Defense should exist because we have a defense job, maybe the most important of federal jobs. There is no constitutional authorization for the department or for the federal government to be in education, so there absolutely should not be a Department of Education.
So, Neal, how practical, if you're going to try to dismantle this thing, would it be? You indicate in what you wrote at Cato is that the spending actually constitutes a small part of all education funding, but they dole out money from formula grants, discretionary grants, direct funding, and administrative funding. I don't know if you want to get into some of the math there and how that would work, but if Trump decides, and I think he wants to do this, if Linda McMahon decides to go for it, I think Congress might have to weigh in on this one. Would it be too difficult to manage and to execute?
Well, if we're talking about what they're talking about, which is kind of dismantling the department, just moving parts to other places, at least theoretically, that's not that hard. And we have to remember the Department of Education, before it existed, there was an Office of Education in the old Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. So things had to be moved to put it together, and things could be moved to take it apart. And places that these things would go actually tend to make more sense. So moving the whole federal student aid, which is primarily student loan operation, to the Department of the Treasury or the Small Business Administration makes sense, because that's where people are who are accustomed to running financial operations, which is what student loans are. It makes sense to move Indian education components to the Department of the Interior. It makes sense to move the Office of Civil Rights to the Department of Justice. And those places are already kind of in the spaces where those places would go. So I think you can move it in probably a year. It would obviously require some planning, but there's no reason it couldn't happen fairly quickly.
So the estimate here of the savings, if you would eliminate these things, would be $94.6 billion. And as you indicate, that's the fiscal year 2025 budget of the entire state of Michigan.
Yeah. So while the federal government doesn't spend a large percentage or provide a large percentage of overall education spending, that's because, in part, we provide a huge amount, or we spend a huge amount on education, especially when you include a higher education. And so if you were to get rid of almost everything the department does, it's still a pretty big amount of money. And it does vary from year to year, and it's difficult sometimes to really capture the budget because student loans have a lot of sort of intricate and confusing budgeting. But you could certainly save what to most people would be a large amount of money, and even if it's small relative to what the federal government spends overall, there are all sorts of small things end up adding up.
So I'm not going to argue that the Department of Education does any of this, because I don't think they do. But how do you then, because this is your wheelhouse, education, how do you maybe try to focus in on some of these devastating things that have happened to these kids in the aftermath of the pandemic?
Well, the federal government isn't doing any of that. I mean, they piled money into schools, and what we see was schools were trying to figure out in school district, what do we do with it? What we need to do is go back to knowing clearly who has responsibility. And in education, if we're talking about public education, it is states, unless states want to give the responsibility to school districts. But once we know who we can say is responsible, then that's where the money should go, and they concentrate on how it's used, and they're held responsible if it doesn't work. Now, in public schools, that means, well, you vote out the school board or somebody if they don't get things done. Far more important at the state level is you go to school choice, where actually schools have to earn the money of parents because the money's attached to their kids. But if you're not going to go to that, it's still better you have true state or true local control and not say, oh, well, we'll ask the federal government to give us money. And then since it's not really ours, we don't really have to focus on whether it's used effectively. And so we've got to return control to where the people actually are, not a whole bunch of money comes from a place far distant that actually is not responsible for the thing it's funding.
By the way, in Missouri, I think we're making some pretty good progress on some school choice issues in our legislature. I don't know if you track that at all, but we have guests here from our local delegation that's on all the time, and I think we've had a fair level of success. One of the things that I always offer, as an example, and I don't know how you really manage this, but I'm friends with a woman who used to be here in St. Louis, Neal. She was the superintendent of the Jennings School District. It's an area that's probably more impoverished, certainly, than a lot of the areas around St. Louis and in North County. And she went to Wichita, so she's not here anymore. But Tiffany Anderson was someone who really led by example. She was there in the crosswalks every morning when the kids were coming to school. She talked to the parents. She wanted to make sure that she was dialed into things that were happening with the students. She wouldn't sit in meetings. So she's always been like my model for unbelievable leadership. And by the way, she did a lot of these things, and she turned the school district around with very little money. I mean, and she even indicated to me that it's kind of backwards the way that they dole out the money, because the more success you have, you're almost punished for that. But I don't know how you get to better leadership in schools, because the teachers union control, because that certainly is something that can, I think, make a big difference in these kids' lives. But we don't have enough Tiffany Andersons, is what I would say, Neal.
Yeah, well, if you don't fundamentally change education from top down to bottom up, bottom up meaning the families that you're supposed to be serving control the money. It's very hard to get the schools to be controlled or focused on what is it that we need to provide? What is it kids need? We need to focus on what parents demand, which is presumably good education. If it's top down, there's always going to be outsized power for organized special interests like teachers unions, and it makes it hard for any kind of superintendent or someone to a really good superintendent to have control and to keep control. And even sort of the idea of you've got democratically controlled school districts and you have school boards where people debate things, that is not necessarily the most efficient way to run anything. It doesn't give clear ownership. And I think unless we move to school choice fundamentally bottom up, it's going to be hard to make sure that those exceptions, those really great leaders, end up being the norm. Because now it's really hard to be a real leader in a system where all the power is with other people, and they may not want what that leader wants. They may want to just sort of be left alone, which is totally normal, by the way. I mean, most people would like to have a job where they do what they want.
Well, that's a valid point, and certainly I think Tiffany was the outlier on that. Neal, I appreciate you coming on here, talking about this. I have, again, we've made some progress here. I've been talking about school choice since my days in Milwaukee. I left there about 20 years ago. There was some success even in the mid-2000s in Milwaukee in a school choice program, but I just feel like decades keep going by, and this doesn't really solidify into something that would be, on a wider scale. We're trying. We're certainly trying, and maybe this administration is going to get there a little bit further than others.
Well, it's the most concerted effort I've seen to get rid of the Department of Education. We have concerted efforts everywhere now for school choice. So, I mean, I don't know if the department's going away, but I do see good stuff going on in education more than I would say we saw 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Neal McCluskey from Cato. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. I have on the topic of education, Sue, I have a parent-teacher conference that I have to go to tonight. Those are always interesting, right? I keep teasing my daughter that she might have to repeat fourth grade since she's taking an extra spring break over the course of the next 2 weeks.
I'm sure that's going over
Yeah, for
well.
those people who missed that story, so the Rockwood spring break is next week. I decided to do something really special for my family, my wife and my daughter. I bought them a cruise for spring break, but the problem is I booked it for the wrong week, so they get to go on the cruise anyway. Alexa gets 2 weeks of spring break. I'm going to check with her teacher just to see if she has to repeat fourth grade. We'll keep you posted on that tomorrow.
Follow Mark on Twitter at Mark Reardon KFTK and Instagram at Mark Talk. You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some volume on eastbound 44 tonight, right there at the 55 split and headed into downtown, mainly due to road work, which should be picked up by about 4 this afternoon. We'll see if that happens. Westbound 70 slowing at Jennings Station Road. Southbound 270, heavy traffic between Page and the Clayton Road overpass, and also a little off the pace down at Gravois. 6440 slowing at Hampton. Little bit at 270 and between Winghaven and the 70 split. If you are headed into Illinois, there's some volume. It's not that bad yet. Probably about, I'm calling it 14th Street across the Poplar, and then things open up. This report is brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
When you're required to take money out of your IRA or 401k. I'm Ginny Cosola with your Fox Business Tax Tip. Anyone who turned 72 last year is required to take money out of their IRA or 401k. The first required minimum distribution needs to be made no later than April 1st of this year. But if you turn 72 this year, you need to make the withdrawal by April 1st of the year you turned 73. Anyone born in 1960 or later will need to make withdrawals starting at 75. The penalty has been 50% if you don't comply. It's now been lowered to 25%. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
Call Point Pest Control, mention Annie, and get 10% off your pest problem. Once summertime hits, ant populations begin to reach peak numbers, maybe even into the millions. Call Point Pest Control before they invade your home. Call Point Pest Control, 636-798-0023.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
I'm going to talk about Generator Supercenter here in St. Louis, but here is something that really kind of pairs well with this. We have high winds, a high wind warning tomorrow starting at noon, and we're looking at 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. Now, I'm hoping that will not take down any power lines, but there is the possibility of that. We also have tornadic activity that is possible, in the spring in our areas. So if you're interested in a wonderful, and it's a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator, they're the best, from Generator Supercenter here in St. Louis, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Well, it's just a phone call away or a visit into the warehouse that they have here in St. Louis and Chesterfield. You can give yourself peace of mind by calling for a free estimate, because what you don't want to have happen is get to the summer where you have a power grid failure or something where lines go down, or if it's just an outage that occurs. I had so many situations in the past couple of years where the power just goes off. We have an accident that hits maybe not a transformer, but a light pole, takes it down, power is out for however long. You won't have to worry about that if you have a Generac generator at your home. So stop by the showroom in Chesterfield or call for a free estimate. They do have financing available with low monthly payments. Call 314-499-2020 for Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. And the website is generatorsupercenterofstlouis.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
There's nothing like it. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the timeless voice of Cardinals baseball.
A swing, and there's a high fly ball. That's into deep left field. It might go. It's a gunner.
Now, you can experience every pitch, every play, every win in crystal clear FM sound.
Big fly, Alec Burleson.
Starting March 24th, tune in to 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals, now stronger than ever.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need, while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. If you need to sell your home to buy a new one, it's never been more important to have an experienced negotiator that you can trust. You need my friends Mark and Neil Gelman on your side. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Griff Jenkins. I talked to Tom Homan. They have not slowed down in continuing to go after bad guys because there are so many to go after.
The Mark Cox Morning Show, weekdays from 5 to 9.
Fish Fry Fridays tomorrow. Again, our second stop, this one in Cottleville at the Knights of Columbus. So, I mentioned Chris Smith's going to be a guest tomorrow on the 5 o'clock hour. He texted and said, we're not going to be in a tent tomorrow. I'm like, I don't think so. A tent would be a bad idea with high winds like that. There are a couple that we've done where we've kind of been outside.
Yeah.
Not the one in Colville, but remember we went to O'Fallon.
Oh, yeah.
And it was nice that day.
It really was.
It was really cool. That's when we had, remember, man,
we had
the
dogs.
veteran.
We had the
but we had the
rescue
veteran that
dogs.
came in. I can't remember his name, and he passed away,
He was so
remember?
wonderful, yep.
He was a fighter pilot in
Oh.
World War II. That was amazing. All right, so earlier this week, and I think a lot of people out there have probably seen the video of this, you had a high school sprinter in Virginia. And if you see the video of this, I mean, this chick is trying to defend herself, but she's running.
She can't.
She's losing, and it appears as if, and the reason it appears as if is because it was as if she was smacking her opponent on the back of the head with a baton. And here's something I just noticed, Sue. The reason I bring this up today is because she's now been charged with assault.
Well, good.
I agree. I'll get to that in a second. But in the New York Post, they actually have a lip reader who's trying to weigh in here.
That's funny.
Let's say, I guess they say this doesn't really offer you that much information. While the speed at which the girls were running and the distance the camera away from the track hampered the audio and video quality, one expert believes she figured out what Everett said. Get off and hey-oh. Okay, well, that doesn't really...
Hey-oh?
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't really do anything. But let me play you what the victim says and what the girl who's now been charged with a crime. She keeps doing interviews out there. I think she was even on, Good Morning America, essentially denying that she did anything wrong. So here's what the victim, the girl that got whacked in the head, said.
In the video, Everett is seen on the inside track running the 4x200 relay at the Virginia State High School League Championships when junior Kaylin Tucker came around the outside on the corner.
That's when she hit me with the baton. I just felt a bang on my head, and then I fell off the track immediately.
Kaylin dropping her baton and reaching for her head. She was later diagnosed with a concussion.
Yeah, so she got whacked in the head.
Good
but
grief.
here's the I'm trying to figure out. Alila Everett is her name. She's a high school senior in Virginia. She claims that she lost her balance and accidentally hit the other girl while she was pumping her arms. Now, there's some legitimacy to the fact that you could lose your balance and have your arms flailing in a race like this. The problem is that's not what happened. Okay.
And it's clear that she did not lose her balance.
Right. Again, they're trying to point toward different camera angles. I've looked at different camera angles.
This morning, Alayla Everett, the track star at the center of that viral video showing her appearing to hit another runner in the head with the baton, is speaking out.
I would never do that on purpose. That's not in my character.
Everett says the incident is a complete misunderstanding, pointing to another angle of the race as proof.
The baton was literally, like, her arm was literally hitting the baton like this until she got a little ahead and my arm got stuck like this.
Yeah, I mean, nice try, right?
Yeah.
Tucker, the victim, I mean, if you see the video, it shows her kind of staggering and she falls down. And then they find out, the medical personnel get there and they say that she has a concussion. Now, she's been charged with assault. This is a misdemeanor assault charge, assault and battery. I don't know what happens with this, but it has drawn a lot of attention. I'm a little shocked that she's out there trying to save her reputation because there's just not a whole lot of ways to look at this. I really haven't seen anyone take her side. Have you?
No,
and I'm surprised because
on video.
Yeah, right. Here's one thing that maybe takes away from some of the accusations here. These are two young African-American girls.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. If there was a white chick involved here, this would be a whole nother dynamic. I promise you that.
Well, and it's hard to believe that if you were just losing your balance, you'd hit someone so hard to give them a concussion and knock them out of the race.
Yeah.
I mean, none of it makes sense.
No, it does not make sense.
What she's saying.
Which is why she's now charged with assault and battery, and I'm not sure her attorney's going to let her do any more interviews. All right, I'm going to have, and this is really something I'm looking forward to. I found this article, I think, more than a week ago in the Free Press. I love the Free Press. It's really where they're doing a lot of good journalism these days. By the way, if you go to the FP.com, you're going to find it's not all pro-Trump. Barry Weiss and her team over there, they raised some good questions about a lot of the issues of the day. But Madeleine Kearns is one of the reporters, and she wrote on this free speech case about this woman named Rose Doherty. Rose is 74 years old. And they have, and sometimes we don't realize this, and I think it's been exposed a little bit more, Canada, Great Britain, New Zealand, Australia, they have the weirdest, COVID, they were weird, and with the free speech stuff, they have the free speech police. So this is a woman who was protesting abortions, And again, she's 74 years old. She was put in handcuffs and arrested in Scotland last month, and her crime was simply standing outside of a hospital in Glasgow where abortions were performed, and she held up a sign that said, "Coercion is a crime, here to talk only if you want." That's all she said, and they arrested her.
What?
And yeah, well, this is what they do in Great Britain. They feel like you didn't watch, remember I played the audio from Germany, from 60 Minutes.
Oh, that's right.
They're proud of this. They feel these are people who have been empowered to go after folks on social media for hate speech or whatever is deemed hate speech. In this situation, she's standing peacefully. I mean, this is where you want to look at the guaranteed free speech rights that we have here in this country. And I'm not talking about the one that the terrorist at Columbia University is trying to cite, because he should have his ass kicked out of the country, and I think that's what's going to happen. But in this case, it is outrageous. And Madeleine's not the only person who's having this happen to her. So, I'm sorry, Rose. Madeleine is the author, Madeleine Kearns. She'll join us right after Sue's News.
If you missed anything, podcast The Mark Reardon Show at 971talk.com. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got volume out there tonight. If you are headed into downtown on eastbound 44, it is really jammed. And this is approaching Jefferson all the way to the Poplar Street Bridge. We've got southbound 55 slowing just south of the 55-44 split down through Bates. Now, to the south of there, we've just got moderate volume as you head toward Crystal City, just south of Barnhart. Westbound 6440, a slow go. Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound slowing at Big Bend. Westbound some moderate volume at 270. Slowing again at Highway N. Now, southbound 270, heaviest traffic there is between Page and the Clayton Road overpass. If you are headed into Illinois, there's volume headed for and crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. This report is brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is here with same-day emergency service. They won't leave you stuck. The original Red Ribbon Garage Door Company, trusted in St. Louis since 1926. Call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Bud Hadeke. That was our fighter pilot's
Bud
name.
Hadeke.
Yes, Hadeke, and we spoke with David, his son, a year ago, too, after he had passed away. And that was, well, it was great when he joined us because he was amazing. Let's talk about the law offices of Susan L. Ward. She's here in St. Louis with a great team to help you. And these are tough situations, the end of a marriage or anything that might happen in the aftermath of that. Susan has got you covered. Family law is a tough area. I think all areas of law really are challenging, but you want experience in all areas of the law. And in family law, when kids are involved and emotions really run hot, you need someone like Susan in your corner. She's reached the height of professional excellence, even by this standard. She has the highest peer rating that an attorney can receive by Martindale-Hubbell. That's an AV preeminent rating. And she's also the youngest family law attorney in Missouri to get that AV rating. Their website's great. If you want to go online right now, you can find out everything about the team. There's a confidential consultation form. If you want to call the office, you can do that at 314-783-9400. So maybe you don't need her help, or maybe you have a friend that might need help in this area. How do you find a great family practice attorney? Well, you can start by turning to the law offices of Susan L. Ward, LLC, stlfamilylaw.com, the focus on family law and the emphasis on you, Susan L. Ward. We have Sue's News and a live hit from Dave Murray about the Winds tomorrow coming up after Fox News.
Could you make $500,000 in retirement savings feel like $1 million? Or $1 million feel like $2 million? The key is having a comprehensive financial plan for taxes, Social Security, inflation, healthcare, income, and more. Discover how you could make money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. Guys, it's Dave Glover from KMOX. This one-night class is taught by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects with decades of financial planning experience. They're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. There's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. free. If you've saved $300,000 or more for retirement, register by calling 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110. If, like me, you haven't quite had the pedal to the metal the way you should, or if you've had the pedal to the metal the entire time, either way, give us a call. We can help you out. We'll take you wherever you are. 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110 for financial and tax architects.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Heated meetings on Capitol Hill. Lisa Brady, Fox News. With time running out to avoid a government shutdown, Republicans need bipartisan support to break a filibuster on a House-passed bill to fund the government through September.
And at least one Democrat is ready to break a filibuster if they get votes on secondary plans.
If we get the appropriate amendments, then let's move forward. I don't know that I want to just move forward instantaneously.
Tim Kaine represents a lot of federal workers in Northern Virginia. Democrats could ask for votes on amendments related to DOGE and cutting funding for Washington, D.C. Senate Democrats just finished their meeting on the shutdown. Reporters say they could hear yelling from who is believed to be New York Democrat Kirsten Gillibrand in the hall.
Fox's Chad Pergam on the Hill as this unfolds in the Senate. Senate Democrats have floated a shorter stopgap that would run out next month and likely wouldn't get enough Republican support to advance. Current funding runs out tomorrow night. President Trump says a shutdown would hurt Americans and be the Democrats' fault. He also keeps defending his tariff strategy, saying he won't bend.
We've been ripped off as a country for many, many years. We've been subjected to costs that we shouldn't be subjected to.
But Wall Street remains anxious, dropping into correction territory with the S&P down 10% from the record high it set last month. The head of NATO commending the president during a White House meeting, though, for trying to negotiate an end to Russia's war in Ukraine.
President Trump was asked about Russian President Vladimir Putin's hesitation with the proposed U.S. ceasefire in Ukraine.
He put out a very promising statement, but it wasn't complete. And yeah, I'd love to meet with him or talk to him.
While Putin called the U.S. proposal good and correct, he said there are a number of issues and that a ceasefire must address the root causes of the crisis.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. America is listening to Fox News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
It's another delightful evening around town as temperatures drop into the 60s. Mostly cloudy skies taking over with maybe a spot shower after midnight. Nothing much. 54 for the low. Thursday, do it again. Partly to mostly sunny skies, 78. Thursday night, partly cloudy, 56. Friday, partly sunny, windy and warm, 80 degrees. Scattered showers and thunderstorms develop as we go through Friday afternoon into Friday night. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm Chad Robison with Your Money Now. Stocks slipped today as investors continue to mull the latest tariff threats from President Donald Trump, who took to his social media platform to threaten 200% tariffs on all alcoholic products coming from the countries in the European Union in retaliation for the bloc's 50% duty on whiskey. The Dow fell 537 points, the S&P 500 dropped 77, and the Nasdaq was down nearly 2%. Meanwhile, Intel shares popped more than 13% today after the chipmaker named a new CEO. The news comes after the American semiconductor company lost billions of dollars in market value. The Labor Department is reporting new jobless claims fell by 2,000. Economists polled by the Wall Street Journal were estimating that new claims would rise by 4,000. U.S. crude oil futures for April are falling 1.4%, under 67 a barrel. That's Your Money Now.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pegol is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's I-Z-E-R.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts.
Guys, I want you to go to Game Day Men's Health. There are 3 locations, and if we're being completely honest here, you know, they deal with testosterone and much more than that, but certainly testosterone replacement therapy, vitamin therapy, ED treatments and stuff. Look, there's options, right? You have choices. I'm going to guide you into the best choice because it is a comfortable, private environment. It is overseen by board-certified physicians. Matt Lawrence, out at the location that I went to in Chesterfield, he's got so much energy, and he's very proud of the operation that they put together. It's a man cave environment, and if you go in, it's a free testosterone and PSA test just for going into the office. And I'll guide you into those 3 locations here in a second, and the website is GameDayMen'sHealth.com. But if you'd like to get back to the top of your game, if you're, you know, someone who has low energy, fatigue, decreased libido, poor sleep, mood swings, loss of muscle mass, all those things, they can kind of treat those, and they have different game plans for you at Game Day Men's Health. It's overseen by board-certified physicians. The staff is awesome. So you'll go in for a free consultation. The lab work will be done right there on site. You'll get in and out in an hour, and they're going to offer you a game plan because not everyone's the same. If you have health goals and objectives, they'll help you meet those. There's no contracts. These are customized treatment plans, and they'll keep monitoring and do the lab work to make sure you get maximum results. So check out Game Day Men's Health. There's never an added fee or extra charge for any of your therapy. 3 locations. I went out in Chesterfield there right at Highway 40 and Clarkson Road. You can go to O'Fallon, Glen Carbon, Illinois, or to the website, GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Baseball is all about stepping up to the plate when it matters most. And when you've been injured, you need a heavy hitter in your corner. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
If you've tried and failed every ED treatment, there's another fix that could work for you. It's same-day surgery. It's minimally invasive and is performed by South County urological physicians. Hundreds of men have come to us for this outpatient procedure that has a satisfaction rate of 90%. Interested? Call the dedicated ED phone line at South County Urological, 314-843-8000, extension 33. That's 314-843-8000, extension 33.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick Seminar's Early Bird Special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right. Seminar, Sunday, March 16th. Holiday Inn, St. Louis Southwest, Route 66 in St. Louis. Weight Loss Seminar, 11 a.m. Stop Smoking Seminar, 2 p.m. Or Monday, March 17th. 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights, Fairview Heights. Weight Loss Seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop Smoking Seminar, 8 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Love this song.
Yeah, I didn't have any Gordon Lightfoot in the bumpers.
I can see her lying back in her
Here's what happened. Last night I was in the backyard, started a little fire, waiting
In the
for
pit,
my
please.
wife and daughter to come home. And I had, I listen to John Mayer's station. I really like it on Sirius XM. And he played Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I deemed that not necessarily the best bumper music, so I kind of segued into this. And this is a great theme here for Dave Murray as we welcome him to the show because as the best I can do, Dave, that's what I can do. Sundown, weather, it kind of matches up. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing fine, but the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald is one of the all-time weather songs ever.
It is
it's
such a great song. And I was listening to it. I don't know. I was in a mood last night. And I just really listened to the words. And then I read a little bit about it on, the true story because I always like to remind myself on Wikipedia. Yeah, it is a great weather song. It really is.
There aren't that
Love
many
it.
great weather songs, are there, Dave? I
Let It Rain
Oh,
by
sure,
Clapton.
sure.
I Love a Rainy Night, Eddie Rabbit.
Yes,
okay.
You got raindrops keep falling on
That's
my
right.
head.
There you go.
You can't
There
miss
you
that
go.
one. Do we have any that focus on high wind activity, which we're going to have tomorrow?
Windy.
Yeah,
by the
windy.
association.
That's right. There you go, Fred.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I like it.
So what are we anticipating? And by the way, first of all, the weather this week has been unbelievably great.
So
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No question. An early burst of spring. Before we get to the weather, there's a total eclipse of the moon tonight. The peak eclipse will be at 1:58 in the morning, and we should be able to see it. I know it's a little late for Sue, but just if you can't sleep and you wake up and you go, oh look, maybe I could see the eclipse.
Oh, that's
Let's give it a
awesome,
try.
Dave. Okay, 1:58, so it'll be clear. Okay.
So the
It's
difference.
not going to be totally clear, but I think we'll have enough lack of clouds to see it.
Okay.
So I guess it's obvious, but tell me that I'm not silly. Total eclipse of the moon. How is that different from total eclipse of the sun?
You can look at the moon. You can look at this eclipse without special glasses or anything.
Right.
Good deal. And it's going in front of.
And the eclipse of the moon happens at night. The eclipse of the sun happens during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Now, I'm just being a wise guy now.
You are.
Well, let's talk about these winds, though, because that is what caught my attention because we got, all this nice weather and then, 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts tomorrow?
Yeah, this is, take the idea of thunderstorms, which we're going to talk about here in a second. It will be windy all day tomorrow, and there will be winds over 40 miles per hour, not associated with thunderstorms, associated with the southerly flow with a cold front pressing in, and it's a cold front that means some business. So still very warm tomorrow, 81 degrees, short of a record, but way above average. Scattered showers and thunderstorms developing late afternoon, probably after 4 o'clock. Showers and thunderstorms, some strong to severe Friday night. Prime time is 4 p.m. to midnight. These are going to be really fast-moving storms. Forward speed of 60 miles per hour, heavy downpours of rain, intense lightning, straight-line winds of 60 to 80 miles per hour. These storms are moving at us at 60 miles per hour. It's easy to get straight line winds of 60 to 80. I don't see a lot of hail in this system, but there will be some areas that could see pea, quarter, up to golf ball size, though that will be rather limited, and isolated tornadoes are possible. So again, 4 p.m. to midnight, not everybody's going to see severe weather, but the conditions are really right for fast, strong to severe storms tomorrow evening into tomorrow night.
And how much rain potentially could be dumped?
If you get under a severe storm, you could see an inch of rain in a very short period of time, but it's not a flooding type situation other than some ponding on the roadways. But it's so fast. It's going to happen so fast that flooding is not a major concern out of this.
Good. That's good news. All right, Dave Murray, thank you for the update this afternoon. We appreciate it.
You got it.
All right, we'll talk soon. I've been talking about the Hillsborough Road project, and that's one concern I have with these spring rains, Sue, because they close that road down, and that's an area that floods. And when it does flood, and let's face it, it's going to flood, that will delay the project even further.
Yep.
So,
we'll have to keep an eye on Cottleville, too, because that's where we'll all be.
Yeah,
tomorrow afternoon.
That's true.
He said after 4 o'clock, so it'll be after the roundtable, hopefully, but we'll keep you posted on all the weather. Let's do this on a Thursday afternoon.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Well, on this day in history, 65 years ago, because we were just talking a little bit about the St. Louis football Cardinals yesterday playing in Busch Stadium 1. Well, in 1960, the NFL on this day announced that the Chicago Cardinals were moving to St. Louis. This day was the day that George Halas... Did you realize that the Bears were a major influence in the move? Because the Bears couldn't televise road games when the Chicago Cardinals were playing at home, and they were mad.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I don't think I knew that.
I didn't either. And they decided that the AFC was an upstart, and that somebody thought we're going to put the Cardinals in St. Louis anyway. But that decision was made 65 years ago today. I find this stuff in Joe Sunderman's book of STL history. It's kind of great. But I didn't know that either, and I didn't know George Halas was involved, and I had no idea why. But the Bears were mad. Okay, on this day in history, here's some music for you. Oh, I love this song. 49 years ago in 1976, the Four Seasons returned to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 with December 1963. Oh, what a night.
Oh, what a night. Late December back in 63.
Oh, I love it.
Not Frankie Valli singing on that.
No,
Who's the dude that sings?
It is the drummer.
Right.
And I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but if you watch the video, because the video does exist even in 1976 of this, there's Frankie Valli sitting on a stool ready to do the bridges, and I think he's slightly bitter, but that just might be me. But Jersey Boys.
Jerry Polchi.
That's it.
Jerry Polchi was the drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can watch him. He's drumming and doing it. It's like a whole Phil Collins thing.
And you can hear Frankie's voice, though.
There he is.
In the background.
There
yeah.
he is.
That's right. There you go. But this is a great song. I even added this to the bumper rotation not too long ago, so I
love
like
it.
that one. Had I known, Sue, I would have put it in the rotation today,
Oh,
but you got
yeah.
Gordon Lightfoot, which is okay, too.
Well, and every year that this thing comes out, I like to play this soundbite as much as possible because 33 years ago today in 1992, My Cousin Vinny was released.
So would you say you got a better shot at him going in and not so much coming out?
You could say that.
I did say that. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Is it possible the two youths...
To what? What was that word?
What word?
To what?
What?
Did you say utes?
Yeah, two youths.
What is a ute?
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. Two youths.
That is just one of the damn best movies of all time. It really is.
I might have to rewatch that. I haven't watched that in a long time.
I did probably 2 years ago, and it was great.
It held up?
It did. Oh, it
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And there you hear Greg.
Melissa Torme is Marissa.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei.
So good.
That was Fred Gwynn there as the judge, of course, Thurman Munson, which is awesome.
Wait, Thurman Munson or
Not
Herman
Thurman
Munster?
Herman, not
Herman
Herman
Munster.
What? Herman Munster.
You
I
said
said
Thurman
Munster.
Munster.
That's the baseball player.
Right.
Oh, my God. Well, I was kind of close. I had the.
Oh,
you know,
I didn't know that was a person, so you had me
Oh no,
there.
that is a person.
Okay,
But thank
okay.
you for correcting
Yeah.
that. That would have been bad.
Thurman Munson.
Fred Gwynn.
There's a new show. There's a new show coming out.
At least
on,
you didn't say Tony Gwynn. So
Oh,
there
that's
you
a
go.
good
That's true.
point. That's a solid point. Coming out on Apple TV starring John Hamm. And this sounds really good to me. All right, it's called Your Friends and Neighbors. And it sounds interesting. Hamm plays a recently divorced, well-off guy who has lost his job and begins stealing from his wealthy neighbors to support himself. 9 episodes exist. And although it hasn't aired yet, the show has been renewed for a second season. I guess because
Well,
he's
that's always
just
a good
that
sign.
good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. What's it called again?
It's called Your Friends and Neighbors. And the first episode will air on April the 11th. Do you have Apple, Fred?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
thought
like
you-
I like
soccer.
Apple TV Plus. Yeah, you got Amanda Peet, Olivia Munn.
Right?
I'm trying to look at some other names. Not a lot of names outside of that you would know.
What about Thurman Munson?
He does not appear to
No,
be
that's a
in this
shame.
one.
And it was a record-setting year for Spotify. Spotify paid $10 billion in royalties to artists in 2024. Now, apparently around 1,500 artists made over $1 million on Spotify last year. Now, of these artists, 80% did not have songs in the global daily top 50. What Spotify, and I know you use, what is it, Tidal? What do you use, Mark?
Tidal. It's Tidal. Yeah.
These have made it possible for old stuff or just anything that's popular with the people. It doesn't have to be popular right now. Like I listen to Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald at times, and I can actually, they can boost up by anybody streaming them at any time. Now that we have access to anything, these people who are not necessarily a star today can make good money and are. I kind of love that. These Spotify has made it possible for that, and they also have to say, so if you're an artist who did really well, by the way, you would have to have 20 to 25 million monthly streams to reach that $1 million mark, and a lot of them did.
Wow.
It's
That's
just kind of
interesting.
cool.
Yeah, because my sense has always been, these artists will tell you they don't get much
Right,
from
same.
these streams. But if you get that many,
right?
But
So
that's a
if-
big number.
yes.
How many would qualify under that number?
Well, they say 80% did not
Right,
have
okay.
stuff in, so
Yeah, that
that's
makes
a
sense.
large number. I mean, what is your go-to on Spotify, Fred? What obscure thing do you download?
Just all sorts of artists. I
Right.
mean, I'm trying to think what I asked for just the other day. I wanted to hear some Ralph McTell, Streets of London.
See?
So, and then that just came up right away.
I just wonder who these people are that are getting that many hits. Like, who are they? I'll see if I can find that out. I just would find that interesting. All right, a new poll found...
I just want to go on the record as saying I've never heard of that Ralph
I
Macchio
haven't
band that
either.
Fred mentioned.
Ralph
I haven't
McTell?
either.
Ralph Macchio?
Okay, right.
McTell.
What is it?
It's a Scottish singer.
Oh, okay.
Ralph
will you
McTell.
pull some of
You'll
that
know
up?
the song "Streets of London" when you hear it.
Really? You know
Ralph?
that song?
You would.
Okay, all
Okay.
right.
Okay. Ralph
I'm gonna have to take
Mattel?
your word for it.
McTell.
Oh,
MC Big T E-L-L.
Are you downloading some music for the trip to Japan?
Yeah, I've got a lot down.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Once I've learned how to do it, I've got a lot.
Are you
and
gonna
you do that from Spotify?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Can you do... Oh, hold on. I want to look him up, but that takes me off Sue's News. Okay. A new poll found that 72% of Americans don't feel like they have enough privacy in public bathroom stalls because someone could just peek in through those gaps at the hole at the door at any moment. They could go under, over, in the side. Are you a person who thinks that you don't have enough privacy, Mark Reardon?
Well, let me make something clear before I answer that question. I would
Here we go.
99% of the time I will not use a stall under any circumstances
You and me both.
outside
Really?
of my No, we're not
Oh,
Never.
you're just
No.
going in and...
I mean, if there's an emergency situation, sure. But I'm avoiding that at all costs. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
I barely want to go into the urinal in a public restroom.
Right. I don't
So
even
you-
know if I've used a stall in our bathroom.
You know what,
here.
Fred? It'll be
What do
interesting.
you guys do, though, if you have to,
You don't.
go into a stall? You hold it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. The world of men.
Fred, I wonder what the bathroom situation would be like in Japan. You know, like in Europe, sometimes you have to, and this is like one of those trade-offs. So in Europe, when we were at the airport at Frankfurt or even somewhere in Spain, you had to put 25 cents or whatever the hell. You have to pay to go in there. It's a nominal amount just to keep it clean, and it's worth it.
Here's what I'm guessing. I think Japan probably has it all perfect and pristine.
I bet they do, too.
I think they have fancy toilets over there,
Yes,
Fred.
I would expect. We're going to find it's
like
just not holes in the ground like Italy.
All right, I have a mission.
Here's McTell. Oh, that's very foreign. Scottish.
Here comes the key line. Okay.
Oh, it's the key line?
Well, but we don't have time.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right.
I don't know if I knew that one.
Did
I'll
not.
download it Untitled tonight.
Do you really? No, I can't turn it off. Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Kind of noticed that,
Okay,
Sue.
okay, there we go. Well, 53% of people say we should eliminate the gaps in bathroom stall doors. 45% prefer it when the door goes all the way to the ground. And they also want bathrooms in high-traffic areas to display outside that shows how many stalls are open. In other words, when you walk. Now, this is a total chick thing because we have to walk around and look under,
that's true.
under, and
You
it
know
takes you forever.
That does make sense now that you mention that. That's high-tech stalls, though, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I bet they have those. Seriously, I think the toilet situation in Japan, I'm going to look that up for tomorrow, Fred.
All right, thanks.
And finally, in Sue's news, it won't be the hole in the ground I found in France. Today's a random fact. Yeah, you walk in, you pay a quarter, and it's a hole in the concrete.
Yeah, so I've had that. That was in Italy, I think I experienced that, too. I was
It's a
so
delight.
stunned when that happened. I'm like,
Yes!
wait a second.
Didn't
That's
I just
a
pay
hole.
a quarter?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, unbelievable. Pringles are only about 42% potato. The rest is wheat starch, flour, oils, salt, and seasoning. And because of that, they're not legally allowed to be called potato chips. They're potato crisps.
And that's why they taste so
that
good.
is why.
That is very interesting. I'm not guessing that you're a potato chip person, are you, Sue?
Well, I love them. I try not to eat
But
them
you
very
buy
often.
anything recently. The reason I bring this up because it's that shrinkflation thing. Even Alexa's noticed. You get a bag of something. I bought Wavy Lays today. I like the Wavy Lays.
Those are
and I didn't
good.
get the family size. I usually get the family size, but the family size is more like the original size. And the original size is more like something you get out of a little machine at work. And there's nothing in them anymore.
It's all air.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Yeah,
It was
the
air to
family
begin
size
with.
Cheez-Its are like the regular size Cheez-Its.
Yes,
now. Yeah.
yes,
Dang,
exactly.
people.
I
And
don't
that's
like it. I noticed something else last week, too, where I'll have to think about this a little bit, but it was a situation where it was a food item, and I'm like, you know what? I know what it was. I like the sharp cheddar. I'm a sharp cheddar guy. I don't know
I
about
do,
you.
too.
I'm
I
not
like the sharp
extra
cheddar.
sharp. I'm just a sharp, right?
All right.
And I bought the family pack of that the other day, and when I opened it up, I swear to God, the slices were thinner than I'm used to.
Oh, my gosh.
And that would make sense,
That
too,
does
right?
make sense.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but I do like my sharp cheddar.
I do, too.
Little Gordon Lightfoot will take us out here after a Thursday edition of Sue's News. Live Sue's News at our fish fry in Cottleville tomorrow.
Sometimes I think it's a sin when I feel like I'm winning, when I'm losing again.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
I love Gordon Lightfoot. All
I know,
right.
I'm kind of in a mode now that I heard that song last night. Yeah.
We've got some road work up north, and this is westbound 270, so it is slow coming off of the Canal Bridge through about Riverview. There was an accident westbound 70 west of Zumbel that's left us with a slow go in that area. Also, westbound 6440, an accident past McKnight. It's McCausland, and we've got a parking lot jam that goes back past Kings Highway. Also lined up right now is eastbound 6440. It's just jammed, headed for the Poplar Street Bridge. This is approaching Jefferson. There was an accident westbound on the bridge that caused a delay. Also a parking lot eastbound 44, headed for 55, and all the way through the depressed section in front of the arch. Southbound 55 jams as you head toward Bates. And we had an accident, too. Where was that? Oh, yeah, northbound Lewis and Clark, south of 270. Southbound 270 is jammed from Page through almost the Clayton Road overpass and some moderate volume to the south of there. And if you are westbound on 64, it lines up west of Winghaven in pockets out through 70. This report brought to you by Gloria Liu. Planning to sell your home? Work with the very best. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will guarantee to sell your home at your price or she'll buy it. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, bringing something full circle here, since I misidentified Thurman Munson as Herman Munster, or one of those in reverse.
Right.
It kind of reminded me, he was a catcher for the Yankees, and he died in 1979.
Oh.
He, I think it was an experimental aircraft or something like that. It was
Wait,
a plane
Thurman
crash.
did?
Yes,
Oh,
Thurman
that's
did.
terrible.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Not Herman. Herman,
Yeah.
I think, is still around some. Well, not Fred Gwynn, but Herman Munson lives Munster. See, I still can't do it.
Oh,
I'm going
my
to give up
gosh.
right now.
Missouri education officials must be bad poker players. They keep doubling down on the same bad bet. Public school students haven't been reading or doing math at their grade level for way too long. Last year, a horrifying 40% were regarded as not college or career ready after high school. Many states have adopted school choice. Iowa, Oklahoma, and Arkansas all provide money so families can choose the public or private school that works for them. And Kansas has one of the strongest public school choice programs in the nation. Nearly every family in Missouri has given exactly two choices for their children's education. They're assigned public school or learning online. That's it. Our neighbors trust their parents to choose the right school for their kids. Missouri doesn't. So enrollment is already shrinking. That will mean fewer high school graduates, college students, and workers. A bad bet indeed. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at ShowMeInstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors for savvy homeowners. Since 1926, they are the only authorized dealer of Overhead Door brand products in the city. Always look for the iconic red ribbon to be sure you're dealing with the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. For same-day garage door repair 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis or schedule online overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one who lives with you. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care, helping you with preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly. It's all through Medicaid, and as a St. Louis resident, it's 100% free to you. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 7,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. If you live in the St. Louis area, this service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers can choose to get paid instantly. So go to freedomcare.com or call 314-697-4912. 314-697-4912. That's 314-697-4912.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member NYSC and SIPC.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
And this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
News that's on time, on Download the Odyssey app and dip in whenever you want and stay on top of what's happening. 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app. A little controversy for your afternoon. The Mark Reardon Show.
When you step in the room, they won't be holding me down.
Fish Fry Fridays continue tomorrow. Come see us in Cottleville at the Knights of Columbus Hall. We'll have the gang out there for the Reardon Roundtable. And Jane's going to join us here before the end of this hour to talk about the police bill that was signed by Governor Kehoe today. He was here in St. Louis. Of course, Tish and the people downtown at City Hall, they think it's offensive to actually control crime. Go figure. But we're going to talk about that. And it will be one of the topics on the roundtable tomorrow, starting at 3 on 97.1 FM Talk. Jane's on the panel, former State Senator Jeff Smith and Nick Schroer, current State Senator. I found this piece last week in the Free Press, and I've been wanting to talk about this. I might have referenced it briefly last week. But first of all, I must say the Free Press is where you can find really good journalism these days at the FP.com. Madeleine Kearns is with us this afternoon, wrote about this case from Scotland. The speech police are out and about in areas that are outside of the U.S. for sure. Maddie, how are you? Thanks for coming on 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis.
Thanks so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, this is kind of a crazy story, right? It's one of those things where sometimes you take what we have and the freedoms that we have in this country a bit for granted, considering some of the things that I've seen in New Zealand, in Australia. Some of it's related to the lockdowns. But in this case, this deals with a 74-year-old woman who is simply protesting in an abortion clinic, right?
Yeah, so she was standing outside a hospital, which is where abortions are performed in Scotland, with a sign that said, "Coercion is a crime, here to talk only if you want." She was standing there for about 90 minutes when the police approached her and informed her that she was in breach of a recently passed abortion censorship zone. She said, "Look, I don't think it can be illegal for me to be inviting consensual conversation." They disagreed. They put her in handcuffs. They took her to the police station. They swabbed her for DNA. They took fingerprints, took some mug shots.
Oh, my goodness.
Eventually let her go. But, you know, she's a 74-year-old grandmother. I don't think she was a threat to anybody.
So you said in your reporting they have something called the Safe Access Zone. And this is really something, it's bad enough what happened to her, but you say that praying silently or even, this is the part that caught my attention, or even parking a car with a pro-life bumper sticker in that safe zone, the Safe Access Zone, that violates the rules.
Yeah, so the rules are incredibly broadly written, and Scotland isn't the only part of the UK to have laws like this. We have devolved powers, so different places have slightly different legislation, but basically they all have the same thing, which is in England, in Scotland, and in Northern Ireland, it is illegal to try to influence anyone near an abortion clinic. And really, what does influence mean? It can mean anything. It can mean standing with a sign that doesn't even mention abortion. I mean, her sign did not mention abortion. It can mean praying silently. There's been people who've been arrested for praying silently in England. It can mean having a bumper sticker on your car that says Unborn Lives Matter and parking that car within the zone. And these zones are pretty wide. They can be up to 200 meters in Scotland. So, yeah, it's extremely extensive what the law can cover.
So if something like this were to happen in the States, I believe that there would be a fair amount of outrage, and then sometimes it gets adjudicated, maybe even up to our United States Supreme Court. How does this path work for her right now?
Well, I mean, certainly she can challenge it because, you know, at least ostensibly Europeans and Brits are supposed to have freedom of speech and freedom of religion. So certainly she can challenge it on those grounds. But we have seen that the UK just does not have as robust free speech protections as the United States. Even though they both have the same origin, which is the English common law tradition, the US has just done a much, much better job at protecting those basic freedoms.
Aren't people in the UK, though, are there a fair amount of people that are outraged by something like this or not?
You know, strangely, there aren't that many people who are outraged by this. And there's lots of different reasons for that. One is just a culture of compliance, as I would characterize it. And another reason is that people who oppose abortion are extremely unsympathetic in the eyes of the public. In part, that's because we have a very one-sided media in the way that this issue is covered. And so what has happened here is people who are peacefully either protesting or praying or offering conversation, these people are portrayed as being sort of gross caricatures of people who are shouting at women or harassing women or bullying women. There might be a very small number of people who shout things or have mean signs, but the vast majority of them are very peaceful. And so they've just been lied about, basically.
Oh, a one-sided media. We would have no way to relate with that in this country by any stretch of the imagination. Are you kidding me? That's what happens all the time. Are some of the things that are happening in the UK and Scotland, wherever, are they going beyond this issue with abortion? I bring it up because we have, an American news program, 60 Minutes, and a few weeks ago they went to Germany, where these prosecutors in Germany were boasting very proudly about finding people on social media, on X or wherever, that might have said something that offends them, and they're bragging about arresting these people, which is horrifying to those of us in the States that feel like, well, we really do have freedom of speech, because it's just a different approach. And to those of us here on this side of the ocean, we're outraged by it. We can't even believe it happens.
Mm-hmm. No, this is so much bigger than the abortion issue. This is happening in so many different ways. I mean, last month alone, British authorities arrested 2 men for burning the Quran in public. You wouldn't think that burning a book that you own, by the way, could be an offence, but they're kind of bringing blasphemy in by the back door here by saying this is illegal, this is a hate crime. Similar things with policing speech at football games. If somebody says something that's perceived to be homophobic, they can have the police at their door for that. Somebody puts something on Twitter that's skeptical of transgender ideology, they could have the police at their door for that. We see this all the time. It's really concerning.
So you offer, I want to go back to your, we call it soccer here, the football example. In January of 2022, the Director of Public Prosecutions in England and Wales decreed that using the term Chelsea Rent Boys as a taunt against fans of the West London Soccer Club, that counts as a homophobic slur, and you can be prosecuted for a hate crime. That is stunning right there, that some sort of chant at a soccer game or a football stadium could be used as something you can be prosecuted and arrested for. That really is something different.
Well, it's just a completely disproportionate response, isn't it? I mean, why is this the business of the police? I mean, why are the police prosecuting what would have been left to the domain of manners and just, obviously, like, there's a way to behave in public and there's a way not to behave in public? Or are we really going to outsource the regulation of that to the police? Are we serious?
I guess that's what Germany's doing, because that's what they were, featuring on 60 Minutes. And again, they were pretty proud of it. They're happy because they feel like these are people that they need to go after. And boy, I would hope that free speech advocates all across Europe would be pretty horrified by some of that.
I think a lot of people have lost sight of the basic principle of free speech, which is that you don't just bother to defend speech that you like and speech that you agree with. You have to defend it on principle. So whether it's, pro-Palestine speech or, pro-Israel speech, or whether it's critical of Islam or critical of transgenderism, whatever it is, and you might not like every single one of those examples, but it's the same fundamental principle is the same.
I agree. And as you're probably aware, we have a bit of a free speech case here with the pro-Hamas, student at Columbia University, which is getting a lot of debate right now. Madeleine Kearns at the Free Press, thank you so much. This is a crazy case. Keep us posted on what happens to Rose, okay?
Thanks so much. Well
All
done.
right, take care. Hey, the police bill was signed by Governor Kehoe today, and that's going to take effect soon. We'll get into that with Jane coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Thank you to Mama Kay for letting me know on X. She says the exit lane to 141 from eastbound 6440 is blocked by an accident. It looks like an SUV was rear-ended by a car, and they have the lane blocked. So it's really causing a delay. Now, we've already got volume out there. And if you are traveling on westbound 6440 in the city, it is jammed. There was an accident near McCausland that caused a delay back past Kings Highway. And eastbound 64 is lined up approaching Jefferson across the Poplar Street Bridge. 70 westbound slowing at Jennings Station Road. And we've just got a mess up north. Especially westbound, there's road work, so between the Canal Bridge and Riverview, it's a jam. But eastbound is jammed at the Chain of Rocks Bridge as well. 55, pretty slow south of Arsenal down through Bates. 44 eastbound jams headed into downtown. There's road work near 55. It's just one of those afternoons. And 270 southbound has the usual volume. Heaviest, though, from Page down through 64. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. Windows, siding, kitchens, baths, outdoor spaces. They deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk. Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough money to retire? You are not alone. The key here is to figure out how to make your money go as far as possible in retirement. And to me, the way to do that is to just understand how everything works. And there's a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. It's a one-night class put on by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects. These people know exactly what they're doing, and they can help you. You'll learn about reducing your taxes, when to take Social Security, and they do this for free, but they ask that you bring 3 canned goods, which I love, for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are some openings for classes this month. You can even go next month if you'd like, but you do need to register. So call 314-947-2012. Just kind of get a hold of what's happening in your retirement. 314-947-2012.
Mark Cox here for my friends at Home Shield Foundation. This is a local family-owned company. They do waterproofing. They do crack repair. They can replace your sump pump and do complete waterproofing and drain tile and sump pit installation in your basement. And the owner, Matt Hayes, promises you this. He's going to come in. He's going to inspect your basement to determine the property repair that's needed. Check him out today. Tell him Mark Cox sent you. It's HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Democrats are ready to shut down the federal government. What does that mean for you? We're going to talk about it on the Capitol Beat at 7:35.
The Mark Cox Morning Show. Weekdays from 5 to 9. Right here on 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, another reminder, Brian Kilmeade is going to be here in St. Louis a week from Saturday, the 22nd. That is at the Factory in Chesterfield. There are some tickets available, and there's some meet and greet tickets available as well. If you want to add that to your ticket, if you already have tickets, you can do that, or you can go to briankilmeade.com and get the VIP. That will afford you a signed copy of his latest book and also a chance to say hi to Brian. He was explaining this the other day. I mean, a lot of times when you're signing a book and you have literally maybe hundreds of people in line, and Brian's great. We've seen him do this. He stays till everyone.
He does.
But you're only kind of maybe spending 10 seconds with him as he signs the book and you take a picture. This gets you a little bit more time with Kilmeade, and he's very personable, and a lot of people want to have a chat with him, so you'll have a little extra time. We have Jane Dueker on the line with us. She's going to be in Cottleville at the Fish Fry tomorrow at the Knights of Columbus Hall. Hello, Jane. This was a big day, wasn't it?
Yes. Big day yesterday, actually. So it's a relief beyond belief.
Yeah, so we're talking about the police control bill. It passed yesterday, but the governor didn't waste any time in signing, and he came to St. Louis today, right?
No, he hasn't. He's going to sign it after spring break. But he did have a press conference with the Republican.
Well, that's where I was confused. Okay, so he hasn't signed it yet. Yeah. Okay, well, then I've been spreading false information about that.
Yeah, but he will.
Well, he's going to come. He's coming on with me on Monday after 5 o'clock, so we'll talk to. But what was the final bill? Was there anything here that we should know about? Because we've talked about some amendments. How did it finally get resolved?
Well, it got resolved because they went back to the way that the commissioners were picked before, which is the governor picks and the Senate has to confirm. So the city senators will have a lot of say in who sits on this board. But it's still citizens, people who live in St. Louis. This isn't state control. This is citizen board control. And so I think it'll be great. I really do. And it's funny because people call. A lot of people want to be on this police board. There are a lot of people who really care and really, really, really want things to get better as quickly as possible.
All right. So, the mayor, though, gets one of the positions, and then 5 will be, appointed by the governor, and they still do have to be confirmed. How does that work? The whole Senate has to confirm?
Yes, but there is a huge amount of deference that's given to the senator because, there are appointments in every district, in the state for all kinds of boards. And so generally there's a lot of deference given to where the appointment will be. So it will be the city senators who will have a lot of influence. And frankly, if you want to filibuster an appointment, you can. So, that's the difficulty. You have to be able to get through the Senate. And, so not only should you get the city senators, you should, make sure that you can still be palatable to the remainder of the Senate. So it's not easy, but it's worth it. And when I was in the governor's office, we had board control, and everyone's like, oh, the state's going to, control this. And they couldn't be more wrong. When we would appoint these people, the best thing in life would be if we never heard about it again. There is no interest in the governor running St. Louis's police department. Okay, they want good people to do that. And these appointments, and like the election board, the state doesn't want to run the local election boards. What they want is good appointees that will do that job. And so the idea that the state's going to sit around and micromanage this department is just false.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. So if the governor signs it then after the spring break, and thank God these lawmakers are getting a spring break. They work so damn hard for us, right? I really get concerned about that.
Well, this year they got a lot passed.
Yeah, for this time in the session, that might be true. But then when would the commission be put together? By the end of the summer? By the end of the year?
By August.
Okay, by August. All right, good.
So there was an emergency clause, and that was to make sure that the bill is effective. But the transition will not be effective until, he has 60 days to appoint. And this transition needs to happen in August and September.
So you have the mayor of St. Louis, the current mayor, the outgoing mayor, let's just call her that. Tish says this bill is disrespectful, it's pathetic, and it's cowardly, Jane.
Well, you lost. So move on.
Lost big time, right? Hey.
That's the thing. Why is she on the radio complaining? Be a leader. Say, this is not what we wanted, but we're going to make the best of it, and this is what we need to do.
Well,
that's not happening.
Yeah, she did do something today, and I got to get your opinion of this. We'll talk about it on the roundtable tomorrow. She fired Sonia Jenkins-Gray, who is the personnel director. And how do you look at that? Explain that whole move.
Oh, this was a political fight. They got mad at her, and she must not have been doing what they wanted her to do. So they, picked up something that they were going to, get her fired on. No one else would ever get fired for this.
What was it? So you had a civil service commission that came in with a recommendation that she was fired or should be fired?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but those are Tashara's appointees.
Right, I got you.
So of course they're going to, they're going to have the answer that they're supposed to have. She doesn't even have a full civil service commission. There's only 2 of the 3 members. So of course the 2 that were appointed by the mayor are going to do what the mayor wanted, and it was obvious from day one they were going to cook this. The evidence was never that great as to what they said. And in fact, their star witness drove a city car drunk. He put 400 miles on the same car after they went to Jeff City, and no one ever explained where that happened.
Okay, but let me back up a little bit, because the accusation here is that she had someone who used a city car to drive her to Jeff City for a personnel matter during work hours, or for a personal matter, not a personnel matter, a personal matter.
Personal matter.
Yeah.
For a personal matter involving her husband, who, by the way, Tashara had appointed to the jail oversight board, and then he ended up being a very big critic because she wouldn't let the oversight board provide any oversight. So that had a lot to do with this as well.
Isn't this a little moot from the standpoint that there's going to be a new mayor, and maybe that person, I don't know, these people tend to roll over from administration to administration, though,
well, no,
right?
you can't fire a personnel director without all the hullabaloo. You have to have a hearing. You can't just those are not at will. Personnel, budget, those are supposed to be above the politics, and they're supposed to. So I'm thinking Tisharo's probably going to try to appoint a crony to prevent a new mayor from having that appointment.
So, Sue, you want to take a stab at how much money has been spent by the city just to address this issue?
This specific issue.
To cook this?
It's like a couple hundred. It's like $300,000, right, Jane?
Oh, geez.
At least.
Yeah. So they got $50,000 to hire Reggie Harris, who's a lawyer. The whatever the group is on the board of aldermen that appropriates money, they increased the contract by $150,000, so it's $200,000, and that's just for that part of the legal bill. So this is very costly for the city.
Absolutely, it is. It's a boondoggle.
Jeez.
This is a political spat that we're paying for. This is like the new thing, as if these executives just start doing, lawfare, and the taxpayers are paying the bill. I mean, point to one thing she did in her job that wasn't the right thing. I mean, this was a political cook job. It really was. I don't say that often either. But the evidence was not there. And people don't get fired for what they said she did. She paid back $170 for the gas and the mileage for the car. I mean, people don't generally get fired for that.
No.
Well, does she have any legal repercussions or not?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, she can actually appeal it if she wants to. And, but yeah, and then her husband is on this oversight board. That really ticked him off because he was very vocal on how he didn't want the jail to kill people. Well, duh, that's his job. So yeah, I just think this was a really bad spat that the taxpayer's going to pay for.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how she exits here because it's hard for me to believe this is going to be the last stunt. There's going to be something more before she leaves.
That's what worries me the most is the next 4 weeks. What does this look like? And she could do a lot of damage, and it's kind of scary.
All right, Jane, we'll talk about it all tomorrow on the Roundtable. We'll see you in Cottleville at the Knights of Columbus Hall. You've been there before. We were there the last 2 years. Looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
All right, that's tomorrow starting at 3. Come see us. The fish usually gets served a little closer to 5, but they're nice enough to open up the hall, and you can just gather around and watch the Roundtable tomorrow, and Sue will be there. Fred will be there. Fred will not be at the other fish fries, though. Or is he not going to be there tomorrow?
He's here tomorrow, misses one the next week, and then he'll be back and can talk about Japan.
That's right. Okay, so Japan will take him out of the mix for next week. And by the way, for the rest of the schedule, it is Assumption on Madison Road in South County on the 21st, so a week from tomorrow. Queen of All Saints also in South St. Louis County on Christopher Drive on the 28th. St. Mary Magdalene on the 4th of April. Ott's Tavern in Millstadt, Illinois on the 11th of April. So a lot to look forward to, and we hope to see a bunch of listeners out there tomorrow at our fish fry. Don't forget Brian Kilmeade coming a week from Saturday. You can get VIP tickets at briankilmeade.com.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, we've got some issues on the road. Accident southbound 170 south of Del Mar. This has been blocking the left lane, and we've got a jam behind it. Now, there's also road work. Traffic is at a standstill on eastbound 270 headed for the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Westbound is a slow go between the Canal Bridge and the Chain of Rocks Bridge, actually through Riverview, but eastbound is a mess. Now, downtown, it's really busy. Westbound 44, westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge, eastbound 6440 headed for the bridge, eastbound 44 at the 55 split. Now, westbound 64, they have cleared that accident between McCausland and Big Bend. Now we just have the usual volume, and that starts right around Kings Highway out through McCausland. Southbound 270, Slow Pockets Page down through 44, and eastbound 6440 slowing at 141 because of an accident there. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. It's 4:56, and this report is brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control on 97.1 FM Talk.
Call Point Pest Control, mention Annie, and get 10% off your pest problem. Once summertime hits, ant populations begin to reach peak numbers, maybe even into the millions. Call Point Pest Control before they invade your home. Call Point Pest Control, 636-798-0023.
Big game tonight for Mizzou in the SEC tournament. You could put on your dancing shoes and pick up your phones and make some picks on college hoops with Underdog Fantasy. Bring that excitement to wherever you watch. Playing on the app is real easy. First, download, get a username, and set up the account account, a password, and then use the promo code MARKR because that is going to allow you to get some bonus credits when you make a deposit. And you can really make this very fun and easy. All you have to do is pick on stat lines. So hockey, we're not an NBA town here, so let's talk NHL and the Blues. You can pick goals and assists. In college hoops or pro basketball, the same thing. You can do goals, assists, rebounds in basketball as well. There might be some choices outside of what I just indicated in hockey as well. There's lots of choices, and you can mix and match crossover sports. So in other words, you don't put a pick together only with NHL or basketball. You can if you want to do that, but you can mix and match across the sports. So download the app, get a username and a password, use the promo code MARKR to claim your bonus credits when you make a deposit, and have a little fun with Underdog this weekend. Underdog Fantasy. You must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Void where prohibited. Terms apply. Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you're concerned with your play, or visit ncpgambling.org.
A lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So he came in and he wanted to be able to keep up, play sports with his kids. And from there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports, and as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes, and those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
Hi, everyone. Brian Kilmeade here with a great announcement, especially everybody here at KFTK. St. Louis, I'm coming to you March 22nd at the factory on stage. You're going to love this unscripted affair. It's going to be patriotic, inspirational, motivational. I'll go through all my books, give you the anecdotes inside Fox. We'll go over the news, the war on history, and the comeback of this guy, Donald Trump. Mark Reardon's going to join me on stage. Maybe some surprises in the lineup, but most of all, I want to see you. BrianKilmeade.com. Click on tickets. March 22nd at the factory.
Choose Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil, formulated for today's engines, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic or a MicroGuard Select filter for just $32.99 in-store only. Limits apply. Learn more at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Asking the High Court to intervene. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump is asking the Supreme Court to partly uphold his executive order ending birthright citizenship while legal battles play out.
The president's order would deny citizenship to those born after February 19th whose parents are in the country illegally. But district judges in Maryland, Massachusetts, and Washington have blocked the president's order across the U.S. About 24 states, as well as several groups, have sued over that order, saying it violates the Constitution's promise of citizenship to anyone born inside the U.S. But the Trump administration argues states don't have the legal right to challenge the order. Until the legal fighting is done, the administration's asking the Supreme Court to limit the lower court rulings so they don't apply nationally.
Fox's Jill Nato. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to rehire thousands of probationary workers that were forced from their jobs in the Departments of Veterans Affairs, Agriculture, Defense, Energy, the Interior, and the Treasury. President Trump sounding optimistic after Russian President Vladimir Putin agreed in principle with a ceasefire deal with Ukraine.
I think once that deal happens, you're never going to be in a process. I don't think they're going back to shooting again. I really believe if we had if we get a peace treaty, a ceasefire treaty, I think that leads to peace.
But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Putin is essentially preparing to reject the ceasefire and said Putin's afraid to tell President Trump he wants to continue the war. Wall Street, the sell-off hitting a new low as the trade war escalates. The Dow minus 537, the NASDAQ lost 345, the S&P off 77, the S&P now in correction territory. America is listening to Fox News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Nothing but more springtime. Partly cloudy skies. Temperatures this evening dropping out of the 70s into the upper 60s. 56 for the low. Total eclipse of the moon tonight. The peak will be at 1:58 in the morning. Friday, partly sunny, gusty winds. 81 for the high. Scattered showers and thunderstorms developing late in the day. Friday night, showers and thunderstorms, some strong to severe, very windy, and 56. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I want to guide you into some great products, some great service, a great experience at Michael's Flooring Outlet with 3 great locations here in St. Louis. And you really are going to have a great experience. It can be fun picking out new flooring. I always recommend kind of doing it in person to start because they have great selection, an amazing staff. Mike has put together a team that has a ton of experience. He's been in this industry since he was in his mid-20s. He has a lot of passion for it and expertise. And I often say, nothing against the big box stores, but you're just not going to get someone who knows as much about all these flooring products and what might be best for your lifestyle if you go into a big box store. Why would you do that? You're going to get great prices at Michael's. You can get some samples right now by going into one of the 3 locations or even going online and using the code 3 free. So whether you need soft flooring, hard flooring, the team at Michael's got you covered. They also have, different things that they can do, services, whether it's carpet stretching, area rug, binding, carpet repairs, all that kind of stuff. They do at Michael's as well. But they really specialize in putting you in some beautiful flooring from a variety of companies. Like Mohawk is a great silky soft carpeting and great flooring that looks like wood, that doesn't stain and scratch like wood, and some of the other products out there that might be a little bit more in a price point that you're comfortable with depending on your budget. They can guide you into all of those. IGotFloor.com, 3 great locations in West County on Olive, in Darden Prairie, and also that great store in Old Town St. Peters. Online, IGotFloor.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at Triton Exteriors. Hopefully you've heard me talk about Triton before, and you know that I'm good friends with their owner, Tim, that I love their commitment to customer service. Tim comes from the restaurant business, and so he is completely focused on your happiness. The answer is yes. What's the question? Also, we're not just your average contractor. We're your neighbor. We're proudly based in Shrewsbury. We deliver stunning exteriors with James Hardie Siding. So why James Hardie? Why is that a big deal? Well, it's the #1 brand for durability, curb appeal, and the best-in-class return on investment. As part of the James Hardie Alliance, we bring expert craftsmanship and a personal touch to every project. Your home deserves the best, and with Triton Exteriors and James Hardie, that's exactly what you're going to get. For roofing, siding, gutters, or fences, call 314-717-1159 or go to triton-stl.com. 314-717-1159 or triton-stl.com.
Hi, it's Mark Cox. If you're thinking about selling your home, I know you have a ton of questions. Fact is, selling your home in this real estate market isn't as easy as it used to be. Just look at the headlines. One small mistake can cost you thousands. So before you sell, take a few minutes and get to know Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, just like I have. She is St. Louis real estate expert. I've been telling you about Gloria for over 5 years now. She has written guarantees that'll give you certainty and the most money in today's uncertain market. And you're always in the driver's seat. You know exactly how much you'll make on the sale of your home from the very start. That's because Gloria will guarantee upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or Gloria will buy it. Take it from me. Call Gloria today at 314-325-6888. or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Again, that's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet, first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Let's support Heroes Care through comedy. Annie Fry here. Join Heroes Care at the Westport Funny Bone Sunday, March 23rd for stand-up from St. Louis's own Will O'Donnell. That's Sunday, March 23rd. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
This hour of The Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. Follow Mark on Twitter at Mark Reardon KFTK and Instagram at Mark Talk. You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show.
I had a little trouble with my iPad right now. I was trying to click on a story here about, I think it's about Lawrence O'Donnell at MSNBC. He's one of the crazies over there. And the headline is, MSNBC host reveals he's taking a week off, citing exhaustion, Sue, from the Trump presidency.
Oh, come on.
I hope he's okay. My goodness. Yeah, I'm actually surprised they're all not taking time off, because they have to be exhausted by the pace of all this right now. We're going to talk about the avian flu, the bird flu, and actually our guest at the bottom of the hour, Scott Poock, is someone who is a dairy and beef cattle vet. I didn't know this, but that's also something where the flu can be transmitted. Humans can get it. It's very rare, but we'll talk about that. We have an audio cut of the day. Dan Reardon with the latest on the Players' Championship. That's coming up later. We have our fish fry tomorrow. Come see us in Cottleville. Kilmeade's a week away. You can go to BrianKilmeade.com to get the VIP tickets. Anything else?
Oh, that's
trying to get it on there. I got a parent-teacher conference to go to after the show to determine whether my daughter will have to stay in 4th grade or whether she'll get to 5th grade next year. I'm not completely sure about that, so it's still going to be a big night. We have John Hart with us this afternoon. He is the CEO of Open the Books. You know what, Sue? I have to play this because it seems to fit.
And now, this Doge update.
Yeah.
I mean, whoa.
On the Mark Reardon Show.
John is the CEO of Open the Books, and my producer, John, said you seemed to be Doge before Doge was even a thing, right?
Well, that's a great compliment. I love the setup there. That's a great clip. We at Open the Books, we're a transparency organization, and just the quick history is I worked for Senator Coburn for years.
Awesome! Yes,
and I helped write and pass a bill called the Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Act that put all federal spending online for the first time in history. So that piece of legislation created a whole ecosystem of groups that empowered crowdsourced oversight. And Open the Books is one of the flagship organizations in the transparency space. And a lot of other individual entrepreneurs online have created accounts and ways to search government spending. And so what we've done really over the past 20 years since almost that bill was written is we've painted all these targets. So we've illuminated all of the examples of waste. And now Doge is coming in and going in and doing mostly precision strikes on a lot of those. So it's a very gratifying and exciting time to see them going to work on this. And it's going to be a very complicated, challenging process, but they're doing a tremendous job. And we're going to be continuing to identify examples of waste. And when they're done, the nature of history, as Thomas Jefferson said, is that government tends to grow while liberty diminishes, and there's a battle between the size of government and the scope of individual liberty. And so we're going to be doing this long after DOJ does what they do.
That's awesome. And Senator Coburn used to, as I remember, I know he passed away several years ago, but he used to illustrate this wasteful spending every year. I can't remember. I know Citizens Against Government Waste does like a pork list. Was it associated with that? Because he highlighted it every year. I remember that.
Yeah. We did something called the Waste Book in Coburn's office.
Right.
And he was a senator that went after the famous earmark called the Bridge to Nowhere.
Oh yeah,
and that was a bridge back in 2005, and that's a great story about the power of citizen activism, because we lost that vote in the Senate 82-15. So 67, we fell 67 votes short, but we won the vote by 82-15 among public opinion. And the American people were overwhelmingly disgusted by the Senate defending the special interest project. It was a bridge to an island of 50 people in Alaska, cost over $200 million, and the amendment would have shifted that money to repair a bridge that was just damaged by Hurricane Katrina. So the Senate voted to protect this corrupt earmark system, and that's what led to an earmark ban 5 years later, and that saved taxpayers over $140 billion. And it helped Congress sober up. And Congress actually cut spending in real terms on a year-to-year basis for the first time between 2012 and 2013, for the first time since the end of the Korean War. So, this shining light on waste through transparency makes a big difference. And we're seeing that unfold in a grander scale through DOJ.
John Hart is here. He runs Open the Book. So if I were to go to the website, for example, I know that you have like 50 agencies that are, highlighted here, from the DOJ, Homeland Security. You can go in there and you can kind of cross-reference what kind of things they're spending money on.
Yeah, exactly. You can go and you can do a search. You can do keyword searches, search by salary, and then we do a lot of oversight reports. So we have one that's really interesting right now. Is if you go to something called the Federal Register, that lists all the agencies and sub-agencies of the government, and there are 441 of them. And what we're finding in this review of agencies, the first thing we discovered is that 75 are zombie agencies. In other words, they're still listed, and we pay this entity within the federal government to track all these agencies, but half of them, well, not half, but a good percentage are not even active. And
that makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Are getting money. Yeah, that makes me feel great. Yeah, like who's watching, and it's an inventory issue. That's what's so alarming, is that any business that ran that way, they would go out of business because they wouldn't be able to track what they were spending money on. So it's really alarming. But then within the agencies that are getting money, there's been massive spikes in spending and relatively flatlined, employee numbers. Some of that's been outsourced to other NGOs and contractors. But we have a massive spending problem in this country. And, when we're spending more on interest payments on the national debt than we are on defense, that's a threat to our national security and our kids' futures.
Well, and as you know, John, the way that Washington does the math, and I highlighted this a little earlier this week, there was a Washington Post story on Monday, I think it was, about how Washington, D.C. might have these terrible cuts, John, because of what DOJ is doing and what the Republicans are doing. And they were being asked, this is horrible, and I hope people are not driving and they don't want to drive. They were actually being asked to make the unbelievable sacrifice of just simply going back to 2024 spending levels. But that was too difficult to do because that was deemed in the Washington Post and in D.C. swamp speak, that was a $1 billion cut. No other operation, human being, company operates this way. If you do, you go bankrupt, which is exactly what's happening to the country. But it's outrageous, the amount of spending that goes on.
Yeah, and we've known this is a problem for years. Back in the 1980s, President Reagan did the Grace Commission, and they found that 1 out of every 3 tax dollars was wasted. And it's important to think of this in the scope of history. This is a 100-year project by the progressive left to grow the administrative state. And with the exception of those 2 years I mentioned earlier, where we actually did cut spending, it's been a massive growth in the size and scope and power of government.
And you would agree that this is a bipartisan problem, right? This is not just Democrats doing this. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so one of the things you highlighted here, I think this is interesting. You kind of referred to it, John, but the spending at some of the agencies that we're maybe even talking about here, like USAID, where the staffing grew by a certain percentage, which I think you indicated wasn't completely unreasonable, but the spending was way off the charts higher.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, for example, Department of Education, I think the spending was up 750%. FEMA, there was a big growth in staff, 290%, but 2,000% increase in spending. And so that's unsustainable. And we can't continue to go on without examining and really thinking clearly about what are we spending this money on, and what's the value for taxpayers.
Yeah, what's the return? That is an important question. The ROI.
Right. And this is a dirty job. I'm a big fan of micro. And if you really want to cut spending effectively, you have to be willing to get on your hands and knees and pull the weeds. You can't just mow the flower bed and say you've done the job. You've got to really understand where the waste is and go and get it out. And, Doge and the team of technologists they have are certainly equipped to do that.
So I want you to talk about NASA here, because one of the things you do at Open the Books is you mentioned investigations. One of the investigations that you just revealed was from NASA, and this relates to some of the DEI nonsense that's going on, right?
Yeah, this is a really crazy one. So there's an issue right now with these astronauts stranded.
Yeah,
you people probably heard about, and sadly the launch just got delayed again. But,
right, I heard that.
But
this morning,
they're going to be brought home hopefully. So NASA has a budget of about $25 billion, but we spent, I think it was $20 million on DEI related activities at NASA, and when you think about it, what does DEI and promoting anti-racism or gender-affirming agendas do to help NASA's mission? And
I have an answer. I have an answer for that.
Nothing.
Right. That would be my answer.
So, the way I put it is, Newtonian physics and atmospheric reentry, they do not care about anti-racism talks or gender affirmation. So NASA has a chance to take one small step toward fiscal responsibility and one giant leap toward common sense by getting DEI out of their programs.
Well, and let's hope so, because, I've been trying to highlight this with some guests over the course of several years, and that's why I think that there's so much confidence right now, because some of this is finally sunk in and they're going after it. And, one of the things I say about DEI is, and I can tell that there's news anchors like Aaron Burnett on CNN that have no idea what they're talking about. So don't trust me, maybe don't trust you, John Hart. Go to the New York Times from the fall and the explosive investigative piece that they did on the University of Michigan exposing all that crap, where you even have people on that campus saying, yeah, it was a big waste of time and money.
Yeah, and it's very divisive because, look, our country is founded on this idea, this revolutionary concept that our rights do not come from our gender, our ethnicity, our religion, our race. They come from natural law or nature's God. And that if you want to uphold individual dignity, we need to recover and reapply that founding tradition of human dignity and human worth. So all of these additions that we make to people's names, LGBT plus, whatever the latest acronym is, those are all subtractions to a person's value. That you have value just because you're you. You're a human being, I believe, created in the image of God, and that gives you value. It doesn't come from your affiliation to any ethnic group or identity. And so identity politics is by definition anti-American, and it's exacerbating whatever racial tensions are in the country.
There is zero doubt about that. Let me ask you one more question. You're John Hart, who is the CEO of Open the Books. One of the criticisms that is leveled mainly by the folks at CNN and the legacy media, but it is a talking point, and I'm sure you've heard it, is you're not really going after, and when I say you, they're talking about Congress or Doge or whatever, but maybe the same criticism would be leveled against Open the Books. You're not really going after waste or fraud or abuse or anything like that. You're just going after spending that you don't like. That's what they keep saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say our answer to that is let's open the books together and find out.
Right.
Give people maximum insight into what government's doing, and then let people ask for more or less of it. And so transparency, and the founders wrote transparency into the Constitution because they knew it was a building block of a free society. It actually precedes the Bill of Rights and the First Amendment. And, in the public square, transparency is like oxygen. You can't speak if you can't breathe. So you have to have oxygen and information in a public debate. So I would say, well, look, if you think, people want more of this, let's have more transparency and decide if the public wants more of it or not.
Absolutely. Hey, one thing.
So we're not cherry picking anything. Our mission is to get the information out there. And Coburn worked with a senator named Barack Obama to make this bill law. So if you don't like transparency, you can blame Barack Obama.
I like that.
And Tom Coburn.
Hey, let me ask one more question. I lied because I'm on the website right now. It's openthebooks.com. I see the NASA story up there. It looks like a lot of great information and resource for people if they want to check this out. And then toward the middle of the page, it says featured checkbooks. And it looks like you go into different states like Kansas, Louisiana. It doesn't look like Missouri, though, is covered on that. So you don't have all the states on there, right?
Well, yeah, that should be. That could just be a bug on the site, but yeah, we.
Oh,
we
okay.
Have,
it is on there.
We have information from. Yeah. We have information in incomplete form over most states. So that's also.
No, I missed it. It is here.
We've got not just federal but state and local data, and that's an incredibly powerful tool, and that allows us when there are things like the fires in Los Angeles. We're the organization that is able to put two and two together and identify what we're paying the fire chief in L.A. and we're able to detect all kinds of different patterns of spending across states. For example, the Qatar Foundation has infiltrated K-12 schools with an agenda that's trying to teach and indoctrinate students and teachers into this idea that terrorism is morally relative. That it really just depends on your perspective. Yes,
yeah, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one yet.
That's the power of having data. Is that it allows people to look at what government is doing, and then to decide in a free society if they want more or less of it.
Yeah. I think they're kind of deciding right now, but, it
I think so too.
Yeah, it depends on, look, Quinnipiac has this poll. I don't know if you saw the poll from Quinnipiac today, but it's really stunning. I highlighted this earlier because I guess they were kind of trying to make the case that, some of the support for Doge is really not there. But if you looked at the percentage of Republicans, 77% support. Now, this is weird because this is an incredible number. 96% of the Democrats were against it. 96%. I mean, I don't even know how that happens.
Yeah, I think that just speaks to the extent to which our media is polarized, and
yes,
people are getting people can choose their own kind of narrative. But here's what's really going to matter is that the reason President Trump was elected again is because people believed and they felt like they were better off under his administration than Joe Biden's, and I think in spite of the bumps that we're seeing right now in the economy, that if you can get the waste out of the government and you can reallocate those resources and let people keep more of their money, that's going to have an incredibly profound and powerful economic benefit. And if you make it difficult for agencies to throw up roadblocks like the EPA for new energy production, energy is the master resource that makes everything cheaper or more expensive. And so the energy policy is really unassailable. And it's going to do a lot of good. And sometimes those benefits can take months or longer to spread throughout the economy. But cutting spending is the best form of stimulus you can imagine.
John, you're a fantastic guest. I really appreciate it. Openthebooks.com. I'm going to check out the website more because I love this stuff. I'm going to dig. I'll tell you, the checkbook you really want to check out is Illinois. Boy, I bet that one's revealing.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a lot more to share about that one, I can tell you.
Hey, keep us posted. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks. Take care.
I want to go back to this poll, the Quinnipiac poll, because I find this stunning. It really is. 60% of voters disapprove of the way that Elon Musk and Doge are dealing with workers employed by the federal government. 36% approve. But then they point out that there's a wide partisan divide, and that's when you get to the numbers between Republicans and Democrats. 77% of Republicans approve. 96% of Democrats disapprove.
I think
so.
There's
not just a couple of people out there who are Democrats that think that this is a good idea. That is unbelievable.
I think part of it is because they're personally mad at Elon. Like somehow they've personalized it to him and have focused all of it on him. Now, if his name were out of it, you were to word that
I think you're probably right.
If you're going through and getting rid of waste, I think then that would have a different answer.
No, I think you're right. And this is where polling gets a little tricky because the way that you're asking the question certainly would have an influence here. But it's also what John Hart just referred to, and we talk about this all the time. It's the way that and you just sort of pointed this out too, Sue, it's the way that the media is presenting all
Yeah.
these things. Look, if you're watching NPR, if you're watching CNN, if you're watching anything but Fox, you are getting a picture of this that is totally one-sided. Now, you can make the case, some people might make the case on the other side that Fox is that way, and maybe they're a little bit more pro-Doge. Okay, we're going to stipulate that. But how is it possible that the rest, like every other part of the legacy media, can't see some value, which most of the American people, when you do just pose the question to them on whether this is waste or something that we should be spending money on, it's like 80% of the people agree on that stuff. But this is very manipulated through the legacy media's eyes. And if everyone is Elon's bad, Elon's a Nazi, people are going after the cars. And then, even today, I haven't gotten into this. Maybe I'll do it for Audio Cut of the Day. We're going to talk a little about the avian flu. But these Palestinian protesters in New York City at Trump Tower just basically taking it over. Think about what they stand for. They don't stand for free speech under our Constitution. They stand for a terrorist who hates this country, who has declared that he wants to end Western civilization. That doesn't seem to be a big gray area for me on someone who's not a U.S. citizen, who's just on a green card. I don't care if his wife's pregnant or not. Get him the hell out of here. We're going to talk about the bird flu coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a stall westbound 44 approaching Elm. Watch for that one in the right lane. That one just reported. And other than that, we've got the usual volume. Eastbound 44 just jammed at 55. Westbound 6440 is lined up near Kings Highway out past McCausland. Eastbound 6440 jams near Jefferson, headed for the Poplar Street Bridge. Southbound 270, most of the volume there is Page, down through Manchester. Out west, westbound 40 slowing on either side of Highway N. 70 westbound slows at Jennings Station Road and a little bit to the west, but it's not bad. Southbound 55, some moderate volume here and there in the Herculaneum area. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Hey, it's Annie with my friend Stewie, and you know Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan gets you your mortgage or your refinance at no closing costs. And I have Stewie with me right now. You're all about saving people money. Fiscal responsibility is really in right now, and you've got something up your sleeve for these folks.
You know what, Annie? Some people like to get better cash flow. Other people just want to pay off all their debt. So we're going to do something very, very unique. In Scotland, it was traditional to paint the door red once you paid off your mortgage. So we're going to give you the Red Bagel Challenge. If you refinance with us and you consolidate your debt and you get your mortgage paid off in half the period of time remaining, we're going to give you a $1,000 bonus at the end of that term.
Well, Stewie's all about helping you build your wealth and build equity, and the Bagel Loan is another way to do it. Remember, no closing costs with the Bagel Loan. Reach out to Stewie directly with 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google Bagel Loan for more information, NMLS number 226715.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us, and we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid residents in need of care at home. If you need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid with no cost to you, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care at home in St. Louis, and they get paid instantly. This is 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. It can be your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid instantly. Freedom Care has over 7,000 five-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in St. Louis for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's free to you through Medicaid, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749.
In the 70s, while still putting up Hall of Fame numbers, local baseball legend Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
And our area's never been the same. This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, and Electrical.
So from now on, when you need an electrical solution or fix at your home, get it done fast, good, by a Hall of Fame company that's got it going on.
JerryKelly.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
And this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
97.1 FM Talk is proudly supporting the Guns N' Hoses Queen of Hearts raffle, benefiting the St. Louis Backstoppers. Learn more at stlgunsandhoses.com and listen to the Mark Cox Morning Show Fridays at 8:20 for winner announcements. A little controversy for your afternoon. The Mark Reardon Show.
Well, we got another Fish Fry Friday tomorrow. This one in Cottleville at the Knights of Columbus Hall, which is going to be a lot of fun. We hope to see you out there. We'll have the gang. Sorry, a little coughing spasm here. We'll have the whole gang out there for the roundtable. Jane will be here. Also, former State Senator Jeff Smith and current State Senator Nick Schroer on the panel. Let's talk a little bit about the bird flu here with Dr. Scott Poock. He is an associate professor of veterinary medicine at the University of Missouri Extension. Now, he's not someone who specializes in birds necessarily. He's a dairy and beef cattle vet, but he knows a lot about the bird flu. Dr. Poock, how are you this afternoon?
It's a beautiful day. Sun is shining.
It is a beautiful day. Oh, my goodness. We got out and enjoyed it earlier today. I guess we got some heavy winds coming in, though, this weekend. But let's talk about the avian flu here. And I don't even know exactly where to start, but maybe just a definition of what it is, how it's transmitted. Can humans get the bird flu? Maybe some basics to get us started.
So it's an influenza virus. It has been around for a while. It's pretty much has been confined to poultry or to the bird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where I've come in contact or have been more involved with it or watching it is when it hit the dairy farms last March. Probably began in February, but the first diagnosed case was in March of 2024. And with me being in the dairy beef world, have had to follow it closer. And so it can transfer to humans. There are some humans that have had cases within the dairy world. Most of the humans have picked it up from that where there was a known source from the cow.
Mm-hmm.
Most of those are fairly mild cases of a conjunctivitis and eye infection. There's one a respiratory, but you know where the USD is tracking 4,000 some employees on dairies that are on dairy farms where bird flu has been diagnosed. You know, there's just been a handful of people that have been infected or have shown symptoms from it. So yes, can humans get it? It's probably pretty low prevalence of transfer to humans.
But if the chickens or if animals or any bird gets it, then what happens to the bird that makes it? Because these are birds, if they have the flu, that have to be exterminated. Is that how it works?
Well, so the bird flu affects the poultry, the birds, much more so than it does cattle or others. It depends on the species.
Okay.
There's been 30 different species of mammals that have been infected by it. Some are infected more than others. The cat, every dairy farm's got cats, and if you feed it a cat-infected milk, and for some reason the virus really loves milk, and the cats can die from it. But the cow itself, if she's not lactating, she doesn't show hardly any sign.
Mm.
And if she is lactating, she may get sick, but a majority will get through it. As opposed on these poultry flocks, if it gets in a bird barn, it might kill a majority of them.
Okay.
And so because the flocks, it can be so devastating on the flocks that sometimes they have to go in and take care of a whole flock that gets infected because they don't want it going to the next barn and the next barn.
Yeah. That makes sense. So how would you assess Missouri when it comes to the bird flu at this point compared to other states?
So I will speak more towards the cattle part of it. So far, and with testing and routine surveillance testing going on now, we have not had a positive case. Other states, Texas, California, several other states have had more cases of the bird flu. I would be lying if I would say we've had no cases within the poultry flock. I'm not 100% sure of that, but we have had no cases in cattle.
So that's positive. That's definitely a positive. Now there is a vaccine, right? But it's a shot, and every animal has to get the shot. Every chicken.
No. So the vaccine. So what I know about the vaccines is they're trying to make it so it would be something that they could put in like the water
or food, right?
Yeah. That way versus, having to give the shot. So that's within the poultry world. There is some talk, and of course there's proprietary things going on, some talk that they're maybe doing something for cattle. But yeah, it becomes really tough to go into a flock and catch every bird and vaccinate them. Whereas if they could deliver that through the water feed, that would be preferable.
Yeah.
Easier on the animal, easier on the people, and such.
But obviously, this has been around for a while. There's more challenges, I guess, right now because of the extent of it. So what's the level of optimism that something like that will come about in the near term?
The vaccination?
Yeah, a new delivery for the vaccination, if you will.
Yeah, I would guess that we're pretty good about figuring out how to get this done. I mean, it's not the first of the disease that come in such a situation, and I'm pretty confident that they'll figure out how to get that done for the poultry.
Good, I love it, Dr. Scott Poock. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, fantastic.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the update here this afternoon. The information very helpful. So you have a great weekend and enjoy the weather. Thank you, Dr. Poock.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.
We got a players update with Dan Reardon, our golf expert, no relation, plus an audio cut of the day coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Westbound 70 out of downtown, not too bad. Some moderate volume, though, at Jennings Station Road and in O'Fallon. Westbound 6440 is heavier than that, and that's Kings Highway out past McCausland. Eastbound a little bit slow there at Big Bend. Then westbound lines up again out at Highway N. Southbound 270 looking better, but some volume, especially between Page and the Clayton Road overpass. Slow pockets, though, headed down toward 21. Southbound 55 slowing in the work zone at Bates. Eastbound 44 jams at the 55 split. 44 westbound slow in front of the Arch, and eastbound 40 still a slow go headed into Illinois on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. 99 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors for savvy homeowners. For same-day garage door repair 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis or schedule online overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I have an audio cut of the day just around the corner here. I want to talk about if you or a loved one are looking for a place to live where life gets better with age. I have that place here in St. Louis. It's a brand new facility. It's in Weldon Spring. It's New Perspective Senior Living. And it's not just senior living. It's a community where you can stay active, make new friends, and really feel at home. And it is amazing facility. It's brand new. They opened up, I think the first time they had actually people living in there was September. I was there not too long ago. Fantastic chef-prepared meals, great social events. They have an awesome team. They have a memory care facility as well. So this is independent assisted living and memory care. You want to see it for yourself in person. 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, and it's real easy to schedule a tour. All you have to do is call 636-229-1311 or go to the website. This is a company from Minnesota. It's the first time they're here in Missouri. I don't think it's going to be the last because it's really an amazing place. N as in Nancy, P as in Paul, npseniorliving.com. You'll have granite countertops and, all the amenities that you're interested in. They have a pickleball court that is going in across the street. I have it on good authority. Check out New Perspective Senior Living today, where every day is a chance to live life on purpose.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Griff Jenkins. I talked to Tom Homan. They have not slowed down in continuing to go after bad guys because there are so many to go after.
The Mark Cox Morning Show, weekdays from 5 to 9. Making your afternoon a little hotter. Mark Reardon on 97.1.
So you've never been to my humble abode, but I have a room that's in the basement. It's a little weird because you have to walk through the unfinished part of my basement to get to my studio. I call it my music room, my record room. I did the show that before I switched over here to 97.1 FM Talk, I did my KMOX show for almost an entire year out of that room because it was COVID. We
that's
got
fun.
Booted out of the building in March of 2020, and it was, I think, March of 2021 when I started here. So I use that room. I probably underuse it, compared to the way I used to use it. I was always in there. But I have a TV in there, and I can, listen to the audio. I can also listen to all my music in there. But so this morning I'm in there, and I want to monitor Fox because there's all this protest going on. I can't get that damn audio to work. And then I remembered that somebody in my household, my wife or my child, I'm guessing it was my wife, allowed the bunny, Oreo Smorio the bunny on Instagram, to be in the unfinished area last week because I thought he was upstairs, all right? This was about a week ago. And I come downstairs, and I hit golf balls in this area, too, because I have a little net, and, so I'm going back to hit golf balls, and there he is. He's just plopping around there. Well,
You think he chewed something?
I know he did because I
Oh.
looked behind. I had to call the sound room today because he loves the little, like, iPhone chargers are his favorite. Well, we've come to realize that, so we put that none of those are on the ground anymore. He doesn't really like if you plug something into the wall that's a thicker cord, he doesn't do that. But man, his teeth just slice through these little things, like where you have a RFD device that's on an Apple TV or something like that. So yeah, a little bunny damage. I got to call the sound room for a. It's my wife's fault. Remember what I said.
No,
it's not
of
my fault.
course.
It's never my
Sure,
fault,
'cause that's
Sue.
important.
Exactly. All right,
Yes.
audio cut of the day coming up here in just a minute. But let's check in with Dan Reardon, no relation, to talk about the Players' Championship. I haven't even looked at the leaderboard today, Dan, so this will all be news to me as well.
Well, it was a good scoring day, Mark. I think we still have players on the course, and I think there's 62 players at 1 under or better. A three-way tie for the lead and a St. Louis connection on that. But at the outset, Lucas Glover played brilliantly this morning. He had 9 birdies in his round, shot 6 under 66, and he was the leader for a long time. But the afternoon wave has been a little more dangerous, and J.J. Spawn is in also at 6 under par. And the third name on that leaderboard is Camilo Villegas. And I don't know if you'll remember this, Mark, but Camilo Villegas won the BMW Championship in 2008 at Belle Reef Country Club. That's a long time between 2008 and the 2025 championship. He's 43 years of age. He's from Colombia. He's had a nice career, and it's nice to see something good. He used to be known as the Spider-Man.
That's right. I was just going to ask you because he would always kind of get down. When I was watching the TGL event a few weeks ago, someone got down and they kind of paid homage. I think it was Tom Kim to Camillo doing the Spider-Man thing. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was sort of his trademark. He would get down on all fours to read his putts. But as I said, it was really a good day in terms of the entertainment value at the golf course because you had so many good scores. He's not near the top, but Jordan Spieth played the front 9 and holed out twice on the par 5s for eagles. Minwoo Lee is in at 5 under par. He shot 531 on the front 9. And then you look at some of the marquee names. Rory McIlroy just finished with a birdie. He's 5 under, 1 off the lead. Scotty Scheffler played very solid golf. He's 3 under for the championship. So a lot of good play going on, and a certain amount of volatility. There are a couple of players that came in with rounds of 79 and 80. Oh. Victor Hovland, remember that name?
Yeah.
We thought he was the next great player. I believe Victor shot 80 today.
He did.
In the player.
Yes, he was. Oh, my goodness. He was +8. Max Homa way down with big numbers as well. So that's interesting. Is this such a – oh, Justin Thomas didn't do so well, Dan. You're talking about him. He was +6. Is this one of those tournaments, though, if the leader's sitting there right now at TPC Sawgrass and the Players Stadium course, if they're -6, is this going to grow to like -18 for the championship, or do they toughen this course up and then, you're sitting at -12 or 13 for the final on Sunday? What's your guess there?
If we don't get any weather and they had mild winds and high skies, the course will continue to dry, which made the whole locations so critically important. No, I don't think we're looking at 18 to 20 under par winning this championship. I'm not looking at any of the 3 leaders necessarily to win this championship. But I think we could look at something like 12 to 15 might be a reasonable number. And it will, like I said, come down to the whole locations as much as anything else. By the way, I will say that I missed the boat on Justin Thomas, but Daniel Berger is 2 under par for this championship. I said you get long odds on him. And even though he's 2 over for the championship, Hideki Matsuyama was 5 over through his first 6 holes, and he fought his way back to 2 over. And at 2 over, 8 back of Glover, he's not out of this championship either.
So this is really the last big tournament before the Masters. I mean, you have a couple of tournaments between now and then, but I guess these players will still play in some of these. But this is really the last big one before April 10th and 13th, right?
Absolutely. And we've got the situation now with the signature events, which have the big money. There's no signature event. I don't think we have a signature event until after the Masters. I think Hilton Head is the next one on the schedule. So you'll see players skipping. In fact, Rory McIlroy, who typically doesn't do this, said he's going in the week before to play to practice a little bit at Augusta. He has normally not done that. So yeah, this is a significant championship, and as I said yesterday, it's now back in March, and they've got what they want on the tour right now. They've got a significant event in March, April, May, June, July, and August. I mean, it's exactly what they intended to do. And this year, you throw in a Ryder Cup in September, and they've got exactly what they want. And I don't know what attention they'll get, but the LIV tournament is playing in Asia at the same time. I would think that's unfortunate scheduling. I wouldn't want to go head-to-head with the Players' Championship and try to draw eyeballs.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because what I was going to just say is that I miss John Rahm. I miss some of these guys. And I told you this yesterday, I have no interest in LIV. So I wish it would be solved some way where we can see some of these stars that we enjoyed watching. But I guess that's not in the cards right now.
I don't know if you saw the report last week, and Fred Couples sort of backed it up, that Brooks Koepka has let it be known that if the tours find some kind of resolution of that, his intention is to no longer play in any of the LIV events. He wants to play on the PGA Tour because that's where the people he lives close to, that's the people he practices with, and that's where he wants to play his golf. So, I don't know what that conclusion is going to be. I think it's still a long way off, quite honestly. But the tilt to the PGA Tour is very positive right now.
All right, Dan, thanks for the update on the Players. We'll get a quick hit tomorrow afternoon at the Fish Fry as well, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Enjoyed it.
Speaking of the Fish Fry, would love to see you in Cottleville. Knights of Columbia's tomorrow. We get started at 3 o'clock. The roundtable will include Jane. I lied about something. I'll just say it. I lied. It was fake news. I thought Governor Kehoe had signed the bill to, give control to the police commission again. It passed. It's on his desk. He's going to sign it after spring break. He held a news conference today. That's why I was a little confused. Yeah. And Tish reacted to that, and she called it offensive, blah, blah, blah. But we'll talk about all that on the roundtable. Jane Dueker, former State Senator Jeff Smith, current State Senator Nick Schroer. We'll have Paul Hall on entertainment. Cusimano's going to, visit with us on sports. We got NCAA tournament action that's going on next week. But right now, I just went on to ESPN. There was a big upset in the SEC tournament. Texas beat A&M. A&M's ranked 14th. So that was 94-89 in double overtime. Mizzou plays tonight against Mississippi State. Hopefully they make it to round 2 tomorrow. Lots of basketball. Frank will weigh in on that. And then we have my friend Chris Smith. Chris's story is amazing. He'll be live in person at the Fish Fry. He's an inspirational story. I've heard from a lot of listeners. He was shot in the head. He survived that. His road to recovery has been very impressive. 48 Hours did a story on him in the fall, and he's got a book coming out as well. So we'll feature Chris tomorrow. And then there's somebody that I'm forgetting. That I think it would be Steve Ellman. Hopefully he's not listening. Steve Ellman, the St. Charles County executive, is going to visit with us tomorrow as well. So we got a lot coming up, but we got to do this first.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
I'm going to do 2 parts here because we're on the cusp, and we're going to talk about this during the roundtable, this supposed government shutdown. John Fetterman says he's going to vote for the CR.
I'm going to vote yes for that. And my concern is it's a choice. It's like withholding your vote and not, vote no and shut down the government if we don't have the votes for closure. You are voting to shut the government down, and that will absolutely punish millions of Americans. I've described it. It's like, burning down the village to save it.
Yeah, he might be the only Democrat, though, that votes for it, and I'm not sure how this is going to wrap up and who's going to get the blame, but we'll know a little bit more 24 hours from now, or maybe we'll say 21 hours from now.
Okay.
I'm doing the
look
math.
at you
3 o'clock
math.
tomorrow. It wasn't easy, was it? I had to pause there for a minute. Have a great night. Hang on. I got breaking news here, Sue. Before we even wrap the show, Ethan just handed this to me. Chuck Schumer has caved, announcing he will back the CR that was passed by the House. So we had some changes even before the end of the show. That is fascinating. There you go. Breaking news.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Are thinning out nicely on the roads. Westbound 6440 slowing just around Hampton out through McCausland and again at 270. Eastbound slows on either side of 170. Moderate volume 70 right at Highway K. It's not bad. 64, though, slowing at Highway N and some moderate volume that stretches out through 70. 55 southbound slow headed down toward Bates. And eastbound 44 is still jammed at the 55 split. headed into downtown. There is some moderate volume eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
It seems as if everybody who wanted to sell their home last year is finally starting to take action now. If you're ready to sell, I strongly recommend you call my friend and St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Mark Cox here. Why should Gloria be your first call? Well, let's ask the O'Neill family. Gloria sold their home for $30,000 over list price. Or the Krupp family. Gloria sold their home over one weekend for $25,000 over asking price. Or maybe the Cox family, who received multiple offers and sold for $20,000 over the list price, which, by the way, was the highest sales price for the subdivision ever. You get my point. Not every home sells over list price, but one thing is for sure. Gloria Liu is going to get you the most money possible for your home, and she'll guarantee your agreed-upon price. Call her today at 314